They'll be kicking from right to left in this first half, and Pools line up like this. One change that sees a suspended Josh Amera out of the squad. Chris Ray comes in to replace him to make his home debut. Joel Dixon in goal, a back three of Dan Dodds, Manny Onarise and Alex Lacey. The wing backs of Charlie Seaman and captain David Ferguson. A midfield three of Crawford, Mancini and Cook, with Ray and Manny Desirue, the two leading the line up front. As for Maidenhead, away to our left in the sky blue shirts with the white shorts and the matching socks, they have one change after Zico Asare drops out of the squad altogether. He's replaced by right back Remy Clarima. They start in a 4-1-4-1 formation with Craig Ross in goal. Your back four of Clarima, Kevin Loco, Will de Havilland and Sam Beckworth, with Jaden Mitchell-Lawson sitting in front of that back four, and then in front of him Reece Smith, Charlie Adams, Kane Ferdinand and Ashley Nathaniel George supporting Sean Mikulski up front. We're underway, 30 seconds on the clock. Away to our right, alongside me, Mickey Barron, Hartlepool United legend. A pleasure to have you with us, Mickey. And Pools looking for back-to-back home wins.
Yeah, it's a crazy stat that how long it is since they've had back-to-back home wins, but they've got a good chance tonight. They need to get a good start in the game after Saturday and just build on the momentum from the final minutes or so in Saturday's game.
The ball out for a throw-in early on over in front of the Cyril Knoll stand, for those of you who are familiar with the layout of the ground here. Beautiful summer nights, sky above the ground. You can see the ships passing the marina over on the far side, the Trincomalee piercing above the Cyril Knoll stand as well, as Pools have it in midfield but just overrun, and now the sky blue shirts of Maidenhead have it back out on the left hand side, and Chris Ray just shoves his man to the turf there and concedes a free kick. That was a silly challenge.
Yeah, there was no need to do it. I'm just trying to work out how they're lining up. I think we had 4-1-4-1, but they seem to have a lot more in midfield than we thought, like higher up the midfield, if you like. So it'll be interesting to see if they're starting like this, or this is how they're going to pan out right throughout the game.
Free kick early on then. It's closer to the halfway line over on the left hand side. It's taken short. It's to Reece Smith, who drives past one and another, but Charlie Seaman does well to just thunder that into the Maidenhead half of the pitch and out for a throw-in. So Pools kicking towards the rink end away to our left, which is housing the travelling supporters, of which you have to absolutely take your hat off to them for making the journey this journey on a Tuesday night from Maidenhead. But I think just over 10 of them in there now.
I think there was 13 last count. I think there was another carload turned up.
As Tom Crawford picks up possession in the midfield, finds Lacey, his second start after a long old step out with a shoulder injury. Nice combination with Ferguson, finds Mancini out to the right. This is better from Pools. Seaman looks to try and deliver with his right foot. Got a marker in front of him, manages to get it away, but it's cleared inside the 6-yard box, and Maidenhead in no rush to get it out from the back as Kane Ferdinand gives it out to the left hand side, and Maidenhead look to run it up to the halfway line, but Mancini just tries to close that particular avenue, and across it comes to Mitchell-Lawson, and Crawford able to intercept and does well to just nick it round the corner to Callum Cook, who did well to provide the assist for that dramatic 90th minute winner from Manny Desirue against Gateshead on Saturday. Dodds floating the ball beautifully out to this near side for Ferguson. Heavy first touch, but is able to keep hold of it inside his own half. David Ferguson, the new Pools captain this season, which, speaking to most people, I think would agree with that decision, Mickey, that David Ferguson is the new captain ahead of this season. Yeah,
I thought it was a good decision. I've known Fergie a long time. You know, he's someone that's going to be in your team. I think he's popular in the dressing room, and he's someone that can lead by example on the pitch. So I think it was a good decision to put Fergie as captain.
Thank you to Richie. I've got to give a shout out to Richie, who's listening this evening. All the way in Iraq is Richie, keeping an ear out for his beloved Hartlepool United. as Pools concede a free kick with Maidenhead a man down, just pulling himself to his feet. A free kick inside their own half.
Yeah, it's almost like Maidenhead have got two sitting in midfield, like a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-5-1 they can turn it into, but they've definitely got two lads who are sitting in front of the back four, obviously worried about Mancini and Cook probably trying to get forward.
Yeah, it looks like Charlie Adams and Kane Ferdinand, the two who were sitting, as Pools pick up possession with Alex Lacey. John Askey saying after that win against Gateshead that the change with Lacey coming in for Eden Pruti just provides that little bit more experience at that back line, which certainly did its job against Gateshead. They had to really sit in and defend manfully at times, but the game plan worked to a T as Cook does well to find Crawford inside the centre circle, lifts his head and just clips one out to the right hand side for Seaman, who controls it on his chest, and now Mancini looks to deliver to the front post, and Disaroué is arriving, but it skips up off the turf and into the gloves of Craig Ross.
Yeah, it was some really good football there in the midfield, quick 1-2 midfield and out to the wing back, who tried to link up with Mancini and get a cross in, but it was some really good football in the middle to get away from the Maidenhead press.
Get the impression that Hartlepool are starting to find their rhythm and their pattern of play a little bit now.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously I saw them pre-season. I thought they were brilliant the first half pre-season, and then they go in the first game of the season not so well, but it does take you a few games against some proper opposition to fully understand your system, what you're trying to do, and the level that you're playing at.
Just one goal to tell you about in the National League so far this evening, and Southend have gone 1-0 up against Dorking. Southend absolutely flying at the start of this season. I think many thought they might capitulate given all the off-the-field antics and troubles that they're going through. Almost didn't even start the season on time, but managed to get things together, and sometimes that can galvanise a squad. As a cross comes into the penalty area, on a Reese able to just head it behind and out to this near side for a throw-in. 7 minutes in, Hartlepool United 0, Maidenhead United 0 on BBC Radio T's Sport, with me, Rob Law, and Mickey Barron, your commentary team tonight. The
left winger for Maidenhead is it Nathaniel George, looks lively down that side. He's got the ball a couple of times, been fouled, and then got a good cross in there, so he's going to have to be well marked tonight.
Big throw-in from Remy Clarima, bodies falling down inside the penalty area, one of which is David Ferguson, and wins a free kick as the referee James Westgate gestures that it was for a push in the back on Ferguson. Meanwhile, it's Bromley 0, Wealdstone 1, as other scores start to come in from around the National League. We'll have a full run through at half time with Matty Nixon. There's a full plethora of fixtures in both the National League, League 2 and League 1 tonight, so Matty will take you through all of them at the break, also keeping you across Darlington against Scunthorpe United in the National League North, and Spennymoor against Southport. But our main focus, of course, is here, Pools against Maidenhead, as Angus the Monkey is doing his best ball boy impression there, racing into the Cyril Knowles stand to then toss the ball back onto the field of play.
It's just been a bit scrappy, hasn't it? Yeah. Apart from that one good bit of play from Hartlepool, it's just been a little bit, as I say, a scrappy. Defenders clearing the ball, is going straight out, not really putting the foot on the ball when they can.
Long throwing down the line it comes, but Honoris able to get something on it. Charlie Seaman shows a nice little sleight of feet to find Cook, and then he delivers into the path of David Ferguson, who can accelerate across the halfway line now, stops the ball dead and turns back to Lacey. Now Ferguson once more, and Cook combine well on this near side. Cook looking for an option, and Pools retain possession at the base of the centre circle inside their own half. 10 minutes in, 0-0. Lacey across the halfway line now to Disaroué, just gets brushed off the ball but does well to win it back. Disaroué, Cook lifts his head and floats one beautifully out to the right hand side for Seaman, looks to take on his man and does, onto his left foot. Can he feed it into the area? That pass is blocked and cut out. There's now Nathaniel George looks to accelerate, but he's had his pocket picked by Tom Crawford. Crawford now Cook, centre of the pitch. Oh, he's giving it straight away as Cook to Nathaniel George once more. But then Maidenhead United, it's their turn to overplay it, as Nathaniel George is looking for the run of Reece Smith. But Pools have it. You can hear the drums in the background as Spennymoor have gone 1-0 down against Southport in the National League North. Still Darlington 0, Scunthorpe United 0, and here in the National League North. In the National League.
Yeah, Spennymoor had a great result first game of the season. They got thumped on Saturday, so hopefully he can turn that round. I think the way Maidenhead have set up is so they can always try and put a press on one of the Hartlepool midfield players, so they're trying to make sure that when they pass the ball that they can always squeeze on. So it's going to be important for Ray to try and get into the pocket instead of the midfield players. And
you see him just peeling off now as he takes up possession from Honorise. Ray looks to spread it out to this near side. Good switch of play, controlled on the thigh from Ferguson. Skips infield, manages to keep hold of it. Nice dancing feet from Ferguson. Don't say that often enough, do you? As Dodds through the centre of the field. Runs into a bit of a sky blue wall though. But Maidenhead overplayed. And both teams giving possession away. Can Pools capitalise? Cook with a through ball to Ray, who's brought down inside the area. Offside. And the offside flag is up. I thought for a second there that the referee, James Westcott, was going to point to the spot. It did look like he caught him, but the offside flag was up.
I think the defender didn't see him making the run. I think he caught him a bit unaware, and then as he went to clear the ball, he probably did bring him down, and it would have been a penalty. But the linesman put his flag up. It was a good ball from Cook. Clever run from Ray, the centre forward, to try and get in behind the centre half, and Cook's clever enough to see those passes as well. He probably needed to put a little bit more strength on the pass to get it through. But I think that's what Cook gives you in those areas, that real bit of quality.
And you think that that's going to be hugely important this season, because the midfield battle in the National League often can be overlooked, because gone are the days where you have National League teams just launching it long and letting the strikers and the centre-backs battle it out for possession. There's a lot of teams in this division now that want to get it on the grass and play it like Gateshead did on Saturday against Pools. Yeah, I think that's changing, Rob, isn't it? I think the sort of notion that the teams are just going to lump the ball forward, and a lot of teams now, even if you go down to the next level, when I was applied, a lot of teams are playing and trying to be expansive and play. So you need that real clever midfield player, whether it's Cook or whether it's Mancini, who's going to be able to see that pass for the forwards running in. But I just like the way he gets on the ball. I like the way he looks comfortable when he receives the ball, and he always seems to have a little bit of time when he gets that ball. Well, Chris Ray is up on his feet, just been getting a bit of treatment from the physio. He just pulled his shirt up over his face, which is never normally a good sign. Can see Joe Gray down there just stretching off and warming up. It was all right when Ravanelli used to do it. I was more in celebration, though, wasn't it, than desperation. Yeah, so I think he probably just got whacked on the ankle as he's run through, but he does look in a bit of pain. He looks like he's going to receive some more treatment on the sidelines. Yeah, you can see the deep heat spray just emanating from... works wonders, doesn't it? It beats the magic sponge which you had back in your day, Mickey. I think my son would say it's a placebo effect. That's his favourite saying. Well, Chris Ray is going to try and run it off, but he's not allowed back onto the field of play just yet, as Pools work it back with Joel Dixon, the new Pools number one, after Ben Killip left in the summer for Barnsley. Rob, is it the same as the Premier League with this? When you go off, you have to be off for 30 seconds. Is that rule all the way through? Yeah, all the way through. So, as Crawford does well to just nick possession back inside his own half, and Lacey back to Dixon. And now Chris Ray is allowed to re-enter the field of play. Looks to be moving okay. Yeah, I think he'll be able to run that off. I just think that rule's crazy. Someone can come and wipe you out and injure you, and you have to stay off for another 30 seconds. Yes, I think there's going to be a few contentious moments this season when things like that happen. Team conceding when being down to 10 men, killers getting treated on the sidelines and whatnot. As Joel Dixon puts that ball straight out for a Maidenhead throw, just parallel with their own penalty area away to our left. 15 minutes on the clock. Hartlepool United 0, Maidenhead United 0. Next up for Pools is a trip to Southend on Saturday.
It's really condensed the pitch when you've got that throw in there. I think every single player's on one side of the pitch, you know. Even Maidenhead, they're not willing to bring the wide players out too early. They want to have everyone round the ball to try and collect the ball, but it makes it difficult when you do get the ball to find some time.
Oh, as Chris Ray does well to twist and turn, and then wins the free kick as well. He has that in him, Chris Ray, that little swivel of the hips to get away.
He's got that sort of low centre of gravity, hasn't he? He can move one way but then turn the other way, and he does it really well.
As York have gone 1-0 up against Altrincham. Here we are still waiting for the breakthrough. Pools having the majority of possession. Those on Arise looks to hit a diagonal over to the right hand side towards Seaman, but Mancini is able to pick it up. Pools fighting and scrapping for it, and inadvertently have given a free kick away on the edge of the Maidenhead penalty area.
Yeah, they can't get Mancini in the game at the moment. He's hardly touched the ball, as he's working hard, but I think Maidenhead know that he's a danger and that there's always someone around him. Even now when they've got the ball, they've got two players surrounding him, so he's going to have to work really hard and be really clever about his runs and how he tries to get on the ball. And
that's going to be the thing for him this season, isn't it? You know, the games when he performs well, and he obviously performed very well in pre-season, got some goals as well. Teams are going to do their research on him and look at what he's done and quickly identify a threat. A brilliant sliding challenge from Crawford there to dispossess Maidenhead, and now David Ferguson to accelerate and looks to feed the run of Desirue, but it's just out of reach. And Maidenhead clear into the Neil Cooper stand for a Pools throw-in. Good defensive cover there from Crawford.
Yeah, he did really well, didn't he, read it? I think he just got away from Ferguson and Crawford read it then. And it was another good run from the centre forward, and I think it just needed playing a little bit harder again, just into a bit more space away from the defender.
As Lacey squares it to Honorise, who's looked very solid. I know obviously he played in the 3-2 defeat against Barnet, but in that game I think in the air he looked very, very solid indeed. Looks to be a good acquisition as Dixon searches long, headed up into the ever darkening night sky. Turning away is Mikulski on the halfway line, back to Adams, and now Kane Ferdinand, who I mentioned earlier, but at 30 years of age, the cousin of Rio and Anton Ferdinand. I don't think any of those played at National League level, did they?
Probably not. So probably could now.
Yes, yeah, just mind you, you've seen the shape of Rio Ferdinand. It's absolute Adonis.
Did you see the video of the Arsenal fans with him? And he's walking behind the goal to do the comms.
No, I didn't.
See now, he wasn't very popular.
It doesn't surprise me. Mikulski, an opportunity here for Maidenhead as it's played behind in the area, cleared but straight to a sky blue shirt. Out it comes to this right hand side, looking for Reece Smith. Stands his studs on top of the ball, working it back now to Claruma. And Crawford does well again to just block the pass, and now Cook finds Mancini inside the centre circle. He twists and he turns and he goes through two sky blue shirts, and then he plays a through ball to Chris Ray inside the penalty area, but it's just taken away from him by Will de Havilland to clear into touch for safety. But brilliant sleight of feet from the Frenchman, the flying Frenchman that is Anthony Mancini.
Yeah, it was excellent, wasn't he? He drifted away from two players and then tried to play an early pass, and you can just get a feel when he's on the ball, can't you? I think the crowd expect things. You can hear a little lift from the crowd there, that there's a little buzz when he gets a ball. You just need to keep getting him on the ball.
It's that sense of anticipation, isn't it? Everybody just waiting for him to do something, as Spennymoor have equalised against Southport in the National League North. Here, still Pools 0, Maidenhead United 0. Manny Desirue does well to find Seaman out on the right-hand side. He plays a through ball into that man again, Anthony Mancini. Two sky blue shirts in front of him. Tries to get his pass away. Oh, and Pools have, I was about to say Pools have won it, but the referee blows up for a free kick to the away side, just on the edge of their own penalty area. So, 20 minutes in, 0-0. And we said it earlier, but you get the sense that just one ball through into that front two, strikes danger for Maidenhead.
Yeah, it does. The two centre-halves look strong, they look solid, but I think any ball that's like in behind them is going to cause them problems. I think at times the balls that are trying to play through are probably from too deep of the pitch. They need to be a little bit higher up and not as long. But Hartlepool are growing into the game a lot more and getting the ball in better positions.
Some other scores to tell you about as the ball drops out for a Hartlepool United throw-in 20 minutes in. Woking 0, Rochdale 1, and Barnet have gone 1-0 up at Eastleigh. Still Bromley 0, Wealdstone 1, and Dorking 0, Southend 1. You're up to date with scores in the National League. Pools in possession with Dan Dodds, I beg your pardon. Fires it into the feet of Desiroué, who's dropped deep into the centre circle to pick up possession. Now Crawford, he tried to feed it through the eye of a needle to Cook, who manages to pick up the second ball. Finds Mancini running with purpose, and left-footed shot takes a block and deflects out to the right-hand side for Dodds. Looking purposeful. Now Seaman, wide on the right-hand side. Can he create something here as his cross takes a deflection and out for the first corner of the game, which goes the way of the men in blue and white. They're
getting a lot of joy down the right-hand side. Mancini seems to want to float out there. As soon as Seaman gets a ball, he wants to be on the outside of him, and they link up really well together, and he seems to naturally float into that side of the pitch. And I say that when Seaman gets, he wants to be positive, he wants to get forward, and he tried to put a cross in there that got deflected for a corner.
First corner of the game for Hartlepool United then. It's going to be whipped in, left-footed from David Ferguson. Two hands held aloft. In it comes towards Crawford. Can he make something of it? He's just leaning back, but he manages to pick it up on the byline, unopposed. Twisting and turning. Back into the box he goes. Good run from Crawford to Chris Ray. Oh, and he just flashes wide at the left-hand post. He covers his face with his hands, does Chris Ray, because on his home debut that was an opportunity to open his account in the blue and white. But brilliant work by Crawford in the build-up. Did well to make something of it initially right at the byline. Ran out of the box, turned a full 360, back into the box, picked out Chris Ray, who tried to find the far post, but it just whisked wide of the mark, and it's still 0-0 with 22 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, he did the right thing, didn't he? When he got the ball, he just had a touch and tried to curl into the top corner. As you see, a brilliant play from Crawford, some awful defending from Maidenhead. Let him get the ball first, then let him turn in the box and get back into the box to play it back to Ray. And as I say, really unlucky. He tried the right technique, tried the right angle of the shot, but just curled past.
As Joe Dixon takes a touch inside his 6-yard box and then absolutely fizzes one up towards Mancini. He probably just got one curly lock on the top of that ball, did Mancini. Strikes me as like a labradoodle, Mancini.
I've got a golden doodle rather than a labradoodle.
Yeah, look at you.
It doesn't look like him.
I don't know who would be more insulted at that.
Well, he's getting on a bit, my Spencer, so he's struggling to get around the pitch, shall we say.
I'm not going to make a joke about being similar to his owner or anything like that, because that would be far too below the belt, wouldn't it? That'd be a cheap shot.
Well, it's a contest to see who struggles to get up in the morning.
Do you both limp making it down the stairs?
Well, he's not allowed upstairs, I am.
Oh, okay. As Cook tries to win possession in midfield, but Maidenhead up to the diagonal board. Well read by Charlie Seaman, who's been steady so far this season, on loan from Doncaster Rovers. Just gets a little nick at his heel, falls and then regains his balance. Crawford to Lacey. Pools look so comfortable in possession. Ferguson, he just about gets through to Cook on the edge of the area. Back to Ray, gets away from him, but Mancini strikes, and it's saved low by Craig Ross down to his right. Bit of a daisy cutter from Mancini.
Yeah, it was a comfortable save for the keeper. Mancini in another good position, but Hartlepool are getting some real joy with Cook and Mancini running forward, running past their midfielders and getting on the ball just inside the final third and creating things from there. And I think that's where a goal come from one of those midfielders making a good forward run and losing the marker in midfield.
Hartlepool United, you can almost feel the confidence when they're in possession, can't you?
They've been really good on the ball, probably the last 10 minutes. Really confident, really comfortable. Seem to know where everyone needs to be, which really helps when you're receiving the ball in tight areas.
Dan Dodds is on his bike and he looks to pick up Chris Ray, who just outstretches a right boot but can't get on the end of it. Crawford's picked up a loose pass in midfield, out to Ferguson now. Can Hartlepool United turn the screw a little bit more? Can they pounce while they have the opportunities? Pools lose it in midfield though, and a rare chance for a Maidenhead United attack out on this right hand side. The run of Mitchell Lawson, it's a low cross into the penalty area, across the 6-yard box, and Pools are able to pick it up, and they look to counter with Dodds, who we know will run as long as the day is bright. And Lacey to Cook, just gets brushed off the ball too easily though by Remy Clarima. Knocked over the top by Maidenhead and straight into the arms of Joel Dixon, as Spennymoor have gone 2-1 up against Southport, and it is that man Glenn Taylor who just,
do you know what?
He's incredible.
He's an incredible goal scorer, an incredible player. I must have watched him 10-12 times over the life, and I've never seen him score. I've watched him live so many times. He must score 2 or 3 every other game that I don't go. But what a record he's got at that level.
It is incredible. I know Hartlepool United were trying to sign him at one point, and I think he was quite happy with his work-life balance, if you like. You know, he's part-time at Spennymoor. He's got a full-time job as well. And
yeah, I think
for a lot of players at that level,
I think with his job as a teacher and the sort of salary he gets at Spennymoor, I don't think there'll be many clubs in probably this league or League 2 that could afford to take him in. I think he's happy now. I think he's happy, settled with what he's doing. We'll
be over to Ray Simpson very shortly. In fact, let's go there now, because at Glanford Park has been a goal between Darlington and Scunthorpe United. Ray Simpson.
It's 27 minutes gone. It's Scunthorpe 1, Darlington 0. The goal coming with a deflected shot on 27 minutes when Scunthorpe broke up a Darlington counter-attack out the wrong penalty area. And Danny Whitehall hit a left foot shot that took a deflection, the wrong footed Tommy Taylor, but it's been an open end-to-end game so far. Chances of both ends. Jacob Hazel thought he'd scored for Darlington with a shot that went in off the post, but he was flagged for offside. 28 minutes gone, and it's Scunthorpe 1.
Thank you. Scunthorpe 1, Darlington 0 was that score from Ray Simpson. The line just dropping out a little bit towards the end there as Manny Onarise gone in hard on his man and gets a yellow card. Thoughts on that, Mickey Barron?
Yeah, you can hear a few boos, but as soon as he tackled him, I thought it was a yellow card. I think we all agree it probably was. He's just a bit late. The lad's quick. He put a great ball in before down this right-hand side. It just wanted someone to run in and put in the back of the net. Unfortunately, no one was there, but he was just too quick for the Hartlepool defender there, and I think it's fair that he got a yellow card.
Free kick then to Maidenhead, just beyond the halfway line into the Pools half. A very high defensive line from Pools, a good 25-30 yards out, floats into the edge of the area, headed up but not out by Onarise, drops inside the box. Good first touch from Ferdinand, takes it out to the right hand side. Maidenhead look to deliver into the box. It comes all the way through to the far side now. This time for Nathaniel George. Stands his man up, the step overs, twisting and turning inside the box. Down low to the front post, and it rebounds out, and Pools are able to clear desperately inside their own box. Crawford does well to win it at the second attempt and third attempt, and Manny Onarise helps his teammate out as he kind of spoons it clear up to the halfway line. Chris Ray with a nice sleight of feet finds Cook, and then he feeds in Dizaruwe, but the offside flag is up. Dizaruwe finishes into the back of the net, but the flag had been raised for some time. That won't count, and now Dizaruwe is going to get a yellow card for that, which I have to say, I mean, Dizaruwe had his back to the referee, to the linesman's flag over on the far side. He clearly hadn't seen the flag, and the referee hadn't blown his whistle. And that's the point he's trying to say to the official now. But a yellow card.
Yeah, I think we all agreed the other one was, and I think we all agree that one wasn't. He's played in on goal, and obviously the whistle hasn't gone. He's taken a shot probably as a referee's blown the whistle. It's really tough, isn't it, to
get a yellow card? If anything, that's the referee's fault for not blowing the whistle sooner.
Yeah. He just went a little bit too early with his run again. Cook picked the ball up in a really good area there. There was a gap there, and I think he was probably just a little bit too keen. But just going back to Maidenhead, they've got a threat. There's something about them. As the ball goes forward, they've got a threat down both flanks, and they put a couple of really good crosses in. And we definitely really need to keep an eye on the wide areas.
Ferguson looks to try and curl one at the path of Cook, but it just escapes him. Back it comes to Lacey in the centre-back position. Half an hour gone. Pools 0, Maidenhead United 0 on BBC Radio T Sport with me, Rob Law, and Mickey Barron. 374 games for Pools, our expert summariser this evening. Do you know you ranked 9th in the all-time appearance list, Nicky Barron?
Well, I was talking...
Hold that thought, because Mancini dancing on the edge of the box, trying to find a way through. Oh, nice twist and a turn, and drags the ball back. He's playing with them on the byline, and he's won a corner for good measure. As the Frenchman.
I have to say, he needs to be careful at times with all his tricks. I think you might come up against one or two defenders or midfielders who probably have enough of the flicks and the tricks, but it looks great. And to be honest, he does it with a purpose. He does it to try and get past someone in the final third. That time won another corner from him, but I fear that he might do one too many tricks at some point.
So another corner to Pools, their second of the game. This time it's going to be the outswinger of the right foot of Callum Cook. Left hand in the air, body's on the 18-yard line, and now breaking forward in their numbers. And Pools have a man dragged down inside the box. Manny Desirue is sat on his backside. The referee is not interested in the appeals for a penalty, and David Ferguson is just making the point, but it looked like it was... He's getting his shirt pulled there. Nothing given though, and we play on. As Spennymoor have extended their lead further in the National League North. Spennymoor 3, Southport 1. Here, goalless between Pools and Maidenhead United. Alex Lacey stepping across the halfway line. Desirue lays it off to Crawford, then looks to switch it out to the right-hand side. Good work from Seaman to keep it in. Off the head of Mancini, breaking inside the box, but out comes Craig Ross to smother the ball on the edge of his 6-yard area.
They look to play that pass a lot, Hartlepool, don't they? Receive it, the deep midfielder, they play the diagonal pass out to the wing back, and then Mancini goes and makes that forward run, and they've done it really well. Just overhit the pass a little bit there, but I do feel like that's where they'll get some joy during the game down that right hand side.
Manny Onarise does well to get right underneath that clearance. Manny Desirue does well to pick the pocket of Remy Clarima. Now feeds Anthony Mancini on the halfway line, who looks to run, but he's got sky blue shirts all around him, who eventually nick him behind him and take the ball off him. He didn't quite hear the shout, did he? I wonder what the French is.
I was just saying, I don't know what it is in the French.
The French for Manon. Let Matty Nixon Google that while he's on his little break at the back of the Neil Cooper stand here, preparing himself to bring
just make sure it's the right sort of
don't mess
translation.
Us up. Don't mess us up with saying something we shouldn't be saying on the radio, because Matty Nixon would totally do that. He's going to check Google Translate. Dan Dodds in possession for Hartlepool as he strides past two of Maidenhead, but then loses out to Ashley Nathaniel George, who then is beaten to it by Mancini. Good work from the Frenchman. Studs on top of the ball as he looks to pick out a pass. Chris Ray is just outnumbered, and long
good pass.
Go Maidenhead to Mikulski. Wide on the left-hand side. Homser. Is that right? Manon is Homser. There you go. Now you know. Listening at home, Homser. Maidenhead in possession, looking for a shot from distance. Palmed down by Joel Dixon, gathered at the second attempt, but Pools reducing the opposition to pot shots from distance.
Yeah, it's probably is it the first shot they've had on target, maybe, but it's from 25 yards, and it was pretty easy save for Dixon there, and the lad did well to actually keep it on target for the technique, because it was rolling across him, but it was never really going to trouble the goalkeeper.
Manny Onarise in possession for Pools at the base of the defence. The drummer away to our left, once again just trying to inspire some magic on the pitch. Zonarise looks long for Charlie Seaman, but headed out by Sam Beckwith for a throw-in to Hartlepool United. See Alan Devonshire down in the Maidenhead technical area. It looks like he's got his Bovril as well. Talking about Matty Nixon's Bovril before kick-off. Looks like Alan Devonshire's fully committed to the Bovril, as Tom Crawford does well to win possession and keep possession. Now Lacey on the halfway line, back to Crawford, who side foots it first time square to Ferguson on this near side. He's got plenty of bodies around him. He has to navigate and instead loses possession. And now an opportunity for Reece Smith to stride forward out to Nathaniel George, left hand side of the penalty area. Tricky customer as he looks to try and create space. The shot is blocked by Dodds.
Brilliant defending.
Really good defending to stand his ground. Chris Ray just gets underneath his man.
Yeah, I wanted Dodds to show him down the outside there and not let him cut back in, because it looks like he wants to get onto his right foot. But when he did that, he actually stood up really well and blocked the shot, because it's easy to dive in there at the wrong time, and he was patient and blocked what could have been a difficult shot for the goalkeeper. Desirue
asking a lot of Chris Ray as the ball spins off towards the corner flag and out for a goal kick. Let me take you through some scores elsewhere then in the National League. Goalless between Fylde and Kidderminster. Bromley 0, Wealdstone 1. Still Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Gateshead 0. Dorking 0, Southend 1. Barnet have extended their lead and then some. It's Eastleigh 0, Barnet 3. Goalless between Ebbsfleet and Aldershot, as it is Oldham against Halifax, Oxford City against Chesterfield. Woking 0, Rochdale 1 and York 1, Altrincham 0. And here at the Suit Direct, Hartlepool United 0, Maidenhead United 0. Pools looking for back-to-back home league wins for the first time since February of 2022, as Cook has won it midway inside the opposition half, wide on the left-hand side. Ferguson back to Cook, who has space now in which to operate. Can he find a body inside the box? Desirue turning, Ray out to Mancini, left-footed shot is blocked and closed down at range.
Yeah, he had to slip it to the next one, Seaman. I think everyone was closing in on Mancini there as he was about to take his shot. I think Seaman's just saying that, and just slide it to me. He was centre of the goal. Seaman would have been past the defender, would have easily got a shot away on target. It was really good football again from Ferguson and Cook down this left-hand side this time, and Mancini just took the shot, and when I think we probably think he could have easily just laid it on.
As Chris Ray does well to turn and then is dispossessed, and the referee giving advantage, and is going to book the Maidenhead United captain Kevin Loco, who goes into the book. That is the first Magpie to be booked this evening. So free kick to Pools, right of centre. It's a good 35-40 yards out. Charlie Seaman and Callum Cook stood over it, just deliberating over who will take it.
So everyone always wants to put these balls in as fast as they can, like whip them in. I sometimes think just clipping them to the back post, and because then if the defender heads it, he can't head it very far, and you pick up the second balls. Or if it's clipped, one of your players can go and really attack the ball, but they always whip it.
Well, Charlie Seaman floats onto the back post. Honorese is there and can't quite get the connection that he would have hoped for. But it's taken a deflection and it's out for a Pools corner, their third of the game. What were you just saying?
Yeah, it was a good ball.
Yeah, it was
a good ball. And he sort of half clipped it to the back post, and it was a good touch actually, wasn't it, by the defender, where he just couldn't get his shot away after that. But that was a sort of ball I'm after, just clip it up rather than always whipping it in with pace and let your teammate go and attack the ball.
It's almost like he heard you. Corner to Pools from the near side this time. Cook to deliver, but the referee just checking on the argy-bargy inside the 6-yard room, in 6-yard box, I beg your pardon.
It's brilliant when the refs do that. They go over and say stop it, and then the two lads just start
carry on again. Cook to the front post towards Desirue, but headed away by Maidenhead United, and out it drops for a Pools throw, which Ferguson looks to take. He needs an option. Goes back to Dodds. who's been bright, hasn't he, Dan Dodds? And I think many were thinking that he would be the right back to replace, or the right wing back to replace Jamie Sterry, but he's very much been played as this right-sided centre-back, which may not be his natural position, but is certainly a position he's grown into.
Yeah, he can definitely play there. I think he might not get as much attacking out of him from that position, but he can defend and he likes to break forward. He's Fergie down the left-hand side.
Ferguson gets clattered, a brilliant sliding challenge in the end, and that goes out for a Pools corner.
Yeah, I think with Dodds, just going back to Dodds, I think he could end up playing the next one inside the sort of deeper one of the three and be a bit more of a sort of sweeper and get the ball and play through the thirds and take it through the thirds. But I think anywhere along that sort of back five really could play.
Another corner to Pools then from the near side once more. Callum Cook just places the ball down on the quadrant and stamps his foot down onto the turf. Looks to curl one to the centre of the goal. It bounces all the way through.
Yeah, push on the defender right in the middle of the box.
Free kick to Maidenhead United. 5 minutes to go then till the break. 0-0 as it stands. Being goals between Dagenham and Redbridge and Gateshead. It's Gateshead who've gone 1-0 up, and Dorking have equalised against Southend. So Southend 1, Dorking 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Gateshead 1. Ebbsfleet have scored against Aldershot. Ebbsfleet leading 1-0 there, and it's Oldham 0, Halifax 1. And we'll be over to Ray Simpson very shortly for an update in the National League North, their game against Scunthorpe United. We'll do that very shortly indeed, as this free kick is taken, launched into the Pools half of the pitch, hangs up in the air. Lacey heads it back the way it came, but Pools able to pick up the loose ball with Crawford. Is there one final attack before the end of this first half as the ball spirals out into the Maidenhead dugout? Charlie Seaman to take it. Reid gets a shove in the back off the ball, but we play on. Clears up into the sky, headed by Ray, finds Mancini now for Cook. There's an option on the left hand side if you can find him. Still going is Cook, and it just squirms away from him. Couldn't quite keep it under control, and now Maidenhead look to counter down this near side with Mitchell Lawson now infield, looking for Charlie Adams, but then his ball is wayward and out for a goal kick. So on 42 minutes, 0-0 here. Let's go over to the National League North. Darlington against Scunthorpe United. Ray Simpson watching at Glanford Park.
It's now Scunthorpe United 2, Darlington 0. Scunthorpe scoring their second on 41 minutes. Jordan Windass has penalised for a foul 25 yards out. He pulled down his man after he sneaked past him, and Danny Whitehall curled the ball over the wall and passed Taylor into the top left-hand corner. Quakers nearly got back into it. Jacob Hazel instead of Andrew Nelson, who cut him from the right, and he put a left foot shot over the bar. 2 minutes to half time. It's Scunthorpe 2, Darlington 0.
Thank you for that, Ray Simpson, our man in the know for the Quakers this evening, as Hartlepool United have a corner to defend after Reece Smith strided forward down this right hand side. His cross was blocked by a sliding David Ferguson. First corner of the game for the Magpies. Sam Beckworth to take it, left footed, so it's going to be an in swinger, but he's right at the front post for Maidenhead, and that's where it's going, but it's headed out by Charlie Seaman. And another corner.
Yeah, there's just a bit of a gap at the front post for Hartlepool there. You can see one of the Maidenhead players is starting just to walk in there, and then 2 or 3 others are coming in behind him after. I think that's where they're aiming to put the ball. Yeah,
it's Mikulski who's there. This time he goes to the back post. Joel Dixon comes and doesn't get there. Drops all the way through and out for a goal kick with 2.5 to go till half time. So if you're in that Pools dugout now, Mickey Barron, and you have been in that Pools dugout as caretaker manager, as assistant manager as well, how do you read this game so far, and what do you say at half time?
I was just thinking the same. I think both teams will be pretty happy with how the game's gone, even though it's 0-0. I think Hartlepool have had the better possession, the better moments in the game. I think that at times they need to move the ball a little bit quicker and try and get closer to the forwards. But the team that look like they're going to score, they're getting the ball into more dangerous areas more often. But my worry is Maidenhead have still got a threat. They've still got They've got pace in the team, they've got people who can run with the ball, and when Hartlepool keep going for the goals later in the game, that might come back to haunt them a little bit. But I really feel Hartlepool have got a goal in them tonight.
Chris Ray finds Mancini, edge of the box. It might break for Dizaroué if he can just get on the end of it, but he's out-muscled and outnumbered. And Dan Dodd's back, just sweeping up any danger away from Sean Mikulski.
I think that little bit sums up the half, really, Rob. They've got in a good position, just sort of fizzled out a little bit with the final pass, just wasn't quite good enough.
Going to have 6 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half, as Honoré looks to switch it out to the right hand side for Charlie Seaman, who gets a whack on his knee for good measure, but Pools have a throw in.
It's a grumble, isn't it?
I know, it's almost
everyone
like
wants a pie and a coffee.
A collective 6 around the ground. Some have thought, screw that, I'm going for me coffee now. As Crawford wins it in midfield easily as well. And he's unopposed as he looks to switch it out to this near side for Ferguson, running onto it. Oh, he did well to plucking it out the air, but his momentum just took him beyond. Oh, it looked like it went out, but clearly not. It did go out.
It was a strange choice of pass from Crawford. He did really well to get the ball and then tried a diagonal, but it never went forward. It just went to the side and put Ferguson under a lot of pressure.
Mikulski stands his man up. That man is Lacey. Out it comes now to Mitchell Lawson. Ferguson is with him, touch tight, and Mitchell Lawson goes down and tries to grab the ball as if to say, I'll have the free kick please, but the linesman on this near side quite rightly says, what you doing handling that? I decide if it's a free kick or not. Free kick to Pools.
Yeah, he definitely tried to win the free kick by himself there by grabbing all the ball. It wasn't a free kick. He did get away from Fergie, and then Fergie did well to get back and stop and putting the cross in, but I don't think you're allowed to just grab the ball and say what the kids at school do, just pick the ball up. Go on, sir, and have a free kick.
Is that what they do in your class?
Yeah. I don't give them any.
I wonder what Mickey Barron, the referee, is like.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, but you would say that.
Honestly, I send the kids in my school.
Do you just a lot of play on or advantage?
I always give a penalty.
Oh, Chris Ray does well to twist and turn, finds Dizaroué, space perhaps for Cook, who then tries to feed it back through to Ray, who carried on his run, but instead, as the offside flag is up against Maidenhead, well, that was a clear chance there for Pools.
Yeah, I think Cook could probably have shot there in the area he was in. He tried to feed it into Ray, who just made another run, but it was getting closer and closer to the goal, which made the pass even harder. I think with his quality he's got, he could have took the shot on himself. And
we know he can hit them. I think sometimes just that lack of confidence from Cook from distance. Dodds does very well to win it and wins it back and keeps going out to the right hand side. Dodds looks to put one into the penalty area. Chris Ray rising, he's completely missed it. He's completely missed it at the front post, Chris Ray. He ends up in the goal mouth, and Maidenhead look to counter on the halfway line. This is where Pools need to be careful. Crawford dives in and doesn't get there. It's a forward run from Nathaniel George, breaking inside the area is Reece Smith. He falls down, he's battling with Honoré, who comes out on top. Smith has stayed down inside the Pools penalty area, but now John Askey's side looking to counter with Mancini. Cook does very well to beat his man, and he's being wrestled and held back surely, and Cook shows his frustration, vents his frustration to the referee. A yellow card for Jaden Mitchell-Lawson, and quite rightly so, because if he was any closer, then Callum Cook was Mitchell-Lawson's wife.
What a minute. Dodds did magnificently well down that right hand side. He kept on going. He got a return pass, he put a great ball in, and Ray was 6 yards out. He just had to contact the ball with his head and it would have gone in, and he just seemed to miss the ball completely. You've got to score that chance. It's not really good enough to not make contact with the ball there, because any sort of contact on his head and it should go in.
Free kick then to Pools. Ferguson is going to take it, left-footed, floats one into the area, headed away by Maidenhead, only as far as Crawford, who gets a little shove in the back, but he's come out on top as Crawford. Play on, says the referee. Outside of his boot, tries to scoop one into the penalty area, which was poor in the end, and thumped clear into the Pool's half of play. If you're Chris Ray, you need to bury that, don't you, at the front post? I mean, Dan Dodds did incredibly well to get there and make something of it.
The thing with it, Rob, he didn't have to jump, he didn't have to do anything apart from let the ball hit his head. If he just kept on running and let the ball hit his head, the power on the cross would have taken the ball from his head into the goal. And he just completely missed it. It's the best chance Hartlepool have had, and it would have been probably what they deserved to go in 1-0 up at half time.
A reminder, 6 minutes of stoppage time, which we're well into. The ball at the feet of Joel Dixon, the Hartlepool United number 1. Mancini just trying to quicken the pace a little bit, but Pool's still inside their own half. David Ferguson has peeled right away to this touchline on the left-hand side.
They've not played that diagonal. They've played a lot of diagonals down the right-hand side, but not down to this left-hand side. Where you see Fergie's got so much space here that if they could get it to him, he'd be able to attack. Oh,
now the referee gives a free kick against Crawford. Bang centre of the pitch, a good 40+ yards out. It's one thing we haven't missed is National League referees.
Well, I've been in the National League North, so you should see them.
I dread to think. It's the type of stuff that'll keep you up at night.
To be fair to him, I think he's done all right so far tonight. I think he's got most of the big decisions right.
Nathaniel George stands the ball up for Maidenhead, looks to go between two blue and white shirts. Oh, he's gone past both of them, looks to deliver into the front post, and it's into the side netting, in fact, and out for a goal kick. But for a second there, it had Joel Dixon just scrambling away to his near side post.
Yeah, again, it's just that lack of quality, isn't it, in that final third. He's done well to wriggle past two Hartlepool defenders, and he's got to either drill that into there where all the bodies are in the box, or try and pull it back for someone to run onto, and he just mishit it behind the goal. So it's just that little bit of quality that's lacking.
As Oldham have equalised against Halifax, Mark Shelton with the goal, the former Poolie. And on that note, the referee blows his half-time whistle. Goalless at the break. Hartlepool United with the majority of possession and chances, but really struggling to convert in the final third. The best chance, or one of the best chances, on 22 minutes came from a corner of all things, as Crawford got on the end of it, managed to make something of it at the byline, twisted and turned, laid it into the path of Chris Ray with the outside of his boot, tried to clip one to the far post, which just flashed wide of Craig Ross's woodwork. And then on 24 minutes, Anthony Mancini, who's been in the thick of the action and trying to create stuff and trying to just find that killer moment for Hartlepool United, almost did that with a shot from 20 yards out, which skimmed off the surface, but was an easy save in the end for the opposition goalkeeper. And then right before the break, on 45 minutes, Dan Dodds, with a lung-busting run down the right-hand side, did really well to keep the move flowing, accelerating at pace, curled a beautiful ball into the front post, inviting, just desperate for somebody to get on the end of it. Chris Ray arriving at pace, but just couldn't get anything on it to guide it goalwards, and instead he ended up in the back of the net rather than the ball, and the move broke down to very little. At the break, Hartlepool United 0, Maidenhead United 0. Mickey, just your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think Hartlepool have played well. I think they've passed the ball well at times. They've got into some dangerous areas, and I think Cook and Mancini have probably just on one or two occasions chose a wrong decision, whether it's been a pass where they should have shot or vice versa. And I think second half, if they can get in the same positions that have first half, but just make that slightly better option, or the final pass a little bit better, then they're going to create goals for Hartlepool. I still think Hartlepool will go on and win the game, but you don't want it to be nervy going into the last 10 minutes where it's still 0-0.
And I think the thing is as well, Nicky, there, you mentioned it, they've got plenty of pace on the break of Maidenhead, and like you say, all it takes is one opening and they could find themselves in front. Yeah, definitely. As I say, the two wide players are dangerous, and they are committing bodies when they do get the ball. They're committing bodies forward, so your worry is in the Hartlepool go for it, overstretch themselves, and it's a counter-attack, 1-0, and then they shut up shop. We've all seen it happen, so it's up to Hartlepool to make sure that they get the first goal in the game, so then Maidenhead have to come out a little bit more. It gives Hartlepool a little bit more space to play in and hopefully score more goals. that chance for Chris Ray, it's probably the moment I'm thinking back to most and thinking, how hasn't he even... I was going to say, how hasn't he hit the target with that? How hasn't he got a contact on that? Because I think if he gets any contact, it's 1-0 Hartlepool United. For me, I think I gestured towards you two. It almost reminded me of when you were playing footy as a schoolboy and the shout was, don't close your eyes when they head the ball. That's what it almost looked like. It looked like he had his eye in it and then lost it at the last second, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was always comfortable heading the ball. I enjoyed heading the ball, but you do have players that don't, you know, and that's what it looked like. It looked like he didn't want to head the ball because, as I say, it was a chance. He wasn't getting challenged. It wasn't like he was going to get hurt. All he had to do was put contact on the ball and it would have gone in the net. It was really strange how he didn't get any, even if his head had gone over or had gone backwards or something, but he just didn't get any contact on the ball. He's probably 5 yards out, and say it would have been a goal, but he was in the position to score, shall we put it that way. So hopefully next time it'll be at his feet.
Fingers crossed. There we go. There are the thoughts of our Pools expert summariser, Mickey Barron and Rob Law. They'll be back with your commentary very, very shortly here on BBC Radio T's Sport. It is Hartlepool United 0, Maidenhead United 0 in the National League. And we'll have all the rest of the scores for you very shortly. But first, we're keeping an eye on a couple of games for you tonight in the National League North, one of which is at Glanford Park. It's Scunthorpe United versus Darlington. Ray Simpson is watching this one for us.
Half-time here at Glanford Park. It's Scunthorpe 2, Darlington 0. End-to-end game, but Scunthorpe just have the edge. Scunthorpe threatened first. A long clearance by Fitzsimmons found Wilson on the right, but his cross was well beyond his strikers. The home side had a chance on 3 minutes. Another long ball down the right found Ogle, who pulled the ball back for Wilson to have a shot blocked by Taylor for a corner. The Quakers nearly took a lead on 5 minutes. Lawless successfully won the ball on the Darton left and played a great ball over the Scunthorpe defence for Jacob Hazel to get in behind and hit a left foot shot that Fitzsimmons blocked with his legs. Quakers had another chance on 7 minutes when Nelson picked the ball up 30 yards out, ran to the edge of the box and hit a right foot shot that Fitzsimmons saved low down. Darlington keeper Tommy Taylor made an excellent save on 17 minutes when Jacob Butterfield turned and hit a left foot shot towards the top corner, but Taylor acrobatically palmed the ball away. Quakers responded with a long ball to Nelson on the left, and he played the ball inside for Ben Little to control just inside the area and fired just over the bar. Quakers thought they'd scored on 24 minutes when Jordan Musto chipped the ball into the box for Hazel to volley first time in off the post, but the assistant's flag went up for offside. But Scunthorpe took the lead on 27 minutes. They broke up a Quakers counter-attack and Danny Whitehall hit a left foot shot that took a deflection off a defender. It's the second time that's happened for Darlow already this season, and beat Taylor. Quakers had a chance to get back into the game when Hazel set up Nelson, who cut in from the right and put a left foot shot over the top, but it was 2-0 on 41 minutes. Windass was penalised for a foul 25 yards out, and Whitehall curled the ball over the wall and past Taylor. Half-time is Scunthorpe 2, Darlington 0.
So the Quakers trail at the break against Scunthorpe United. Elsewhere in National League North tonight, they went 1-0 down to Spennymoor Town, but it is 3-1 to Moors at the break. They fought back to be 3-1 to the good at half-time. Have Jamie Chandler's side. Right, I'll have all the rest of the scores for you from up and down the country after this.
BBC Radio T's Breakfast with Amy Oakton.
Every Friday through the 6 weeks summer holidays, BBC Radio T's will give you the chance to win something for the weekend. Family passes for Splash, Air Trail, Go Climb and the Ice Arena are all up for grabs, along with tickets for great nights out at the Forum Theatre. So tune in to BBC Radio T's Breakfast every Friday for your chance to win something for the weekend.
BBC Radio T's Breakfast. Proud to follow Hartlepool United.
BBC Radio T's
Sport.
Yes, in half-time here in Hartlepool, it is Pools 0, Maidenhead United 0. A chance or two in the first half for either side, but it remains goalless at the break here. Elsewhere in the National League then, it's AFC Fylde 0, Kidderminster 0, Bromley 0, Wilston 1, Dagenham 0, Gateshead 1, Dorking 1, Southend 1, Eastleigh 1, Barnet 3, Ebbsfleet 1, Aldershot 0, Oldham 1, Halifax 1, Oxford City 0, Chesterfield 1, Woking 0, Rochdale 1, and finally still playing, I think, down at the LNR Community Stadium in York, where it is York City 2, Altrincham 1. Into League One then this evening, a number of games going on in both League One and League Two, but we'll start in League One, where at half-time it's Barnsley 0, Peterborough 0, Blackpool 0, Port Vale 0, Bolton 3, Fleetwood Town 0, Cambridge United 0, Stevenage 1, Carlisle 0, Wigan 1, Charlton 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Derby County 0, Oxford United 1, Northampton 0, Lincoln City 1, Shrewsbury 2, Burton Albion 0, Wickham 1, Leyton Orient 0, Portsmouth 0, Exeter 0, and Reading 1, Cheltenham 0. Into League 2 then, Accrington Stanley 1, Barrow 0, Colchester 0, AFC Wimbledon 0, Crawley Town 1, MK Dons 1, Crewe Alexandra 1, Newport County 1, Doncaster Rovers 1, Mansfield 1, Forest Green 1, Swindon 0, Grimsby 1, Salford 0, Morecambe 0, Notts County 0, Stockport County 0, Bradford City 0, Sutton United 0, Gillingham 1, Tranmere Rovers 2, Harrogate Town 0, and finally for now Wrexham Town, sorry not Wrexham Town, just Wrexham, plain old Wrexham with their Hollywood owners winning 2-1 against Walsall.
BBC Radio T Sport.
Yes, and we'll be back for second half commentary here at the South RX Stadium. It's Pools 0, Maidenhead United 0, second half underway in around about 8 or 9 minutes time with Rob and Mickey. Rob Law, Mickey Barron, that is. And just to remind you, of course, a couple of big signings for Middlesbrough, the other side that we bring you every full match commentary of here on BBC Radio T Sport. Those two signings today. First of all, a left back from Danish side Silkeborg in Lucas Engel, who has joined Borough today. I know a position that Michael Carrick was looking to sort out. The 24-year-old Dane has penned a 4-year deal at the Riverside, and a new striker coming into Middlesbrough as well. They've announced the signing of Atalanta forward Emmanuel Latte-Lath. The Ivory Coast International has also signed a 4-year deal, and there's an option for a further year there as well. But a lot of the focus over the next, probably 14 hours or so is going to be on a certain game down under in the morning, because it's a biggie, isn't it? You can watch it live on the BBC. I am, of course, talking about the Women's World Cup, where England are preparing for tomorrow's semi-final against the co-host Australia in Sydney. The England manager Serena Wiegman has been speaking to our reporter Juliet Farrington ahead of the match at Stadium Australia.
Serena, you spoke after the quarter-final win about having a crash course in the English-Australian rivalry in sport. How has that gone?
Yeah, I asked the players and I asked staff, and actually they all didn't feel that rivalry we're talking about. The main thing that came out of it is that that's mainly on cricket and rugby, because they meet each other a lot, and that's the rivalry. And of course last week the netball final, but in football it's not a real big thing. So I have to disappoint you. We just approach it as it's a good opponent. We know each other really well. A lot of players play together in the Women's Super League. So it's going to be just a very, very competitive game tomorrow.
It's going to be huge. Hotels are sold out. Tickets are sold out. Everybody is talking about it. Schedules are being moved. How does that make you feel in being as well the biggest tournament that women's football has seen so far?
Yeah, well, that is incredible. And what you hope is, of course, this grows the game, this grows the position of women in the game, but also position of women worldwide. And that's just really good. That's really great. But at the moment, I'm not focusing on that. So I wouldn't say noise, but I keep all this information as away as possible. Of course, I notice things, but I'm really focusing on my team and on our game and on our game tomorrow.
Can I ask then, how do you do that? How do you put all that to one side?
Well, just stay in the hotel a lot, having walks only around the hotel, don't watch TV. I'm not really on social media, only when I want to see some news, the basic things, and just, be with the team.
On that, just before I go on to the game, because we know you've got on the Central Coast a fantastic set up. You've got the beach and everything else that goes with it, sunrises and sunsets. Have you actually taken any moments to yourself while you've been here?
Yeah, I've taken
reflected.
Yeah. Well, reflected. Short reflections, and then they continue. Yeah, well, sometimes you have to take time for it. You know, in a tournament that is really busy and you want to perform, you want to win the next match, so you do anything to be as prepared as possible. But also, I need to stay fresh too. So at some moments, I do take some time off, but that's a couple of hours. It's not a full day. That's tournament football, and now especially with such a short turnaround, we just have to get ready. And another thing is we have a big staff, not members, which take all the responsibility. So we divide our tasks. So all together we bring in lots of quality, so we get prepared as good as possible for the next opponent.
It's such exciting times. In a way, was that match against Colombia a good preparation for you for what England are going to come up against in terms of atmosphere against Australia?
Yeah, it felt, of course, totally as an away game. It was very exciting to be part of, like the anthem, how they sang it for their country was already really nice. But then, of course, the crowds. So that was a very good practice for tomorrow, because that will be maybe even more. I think our players have experienced a lot of big crowds. When we last year in England, of course, they were behind us. Now they will be behind Australia. But also in Champions League, the players who have played Champions League are big games with a lot of fans, also away games. So I think it does inspire us too.
And not trying to look too far ahead, but talking to the players since reaching the semi-finals, they were suggesting that for all the challenges that England have faced and everything that has gone on that roller coaster tournament so far, everything's just starting to click now at the right time.
I think we just grew in this tournament, and yes, we had a lot of things thrown at us, and the team has showed a lot of resilience, but also being able to adapt so quickly at all times and translate all the things what we speak about to the pitch. And now also after the Colombia game, we had conversations. The players are so connected with each other, and we want to play better again tomorrow. We're going to do better every game, which makes the chance of winning higher.
So close, Serena, so close.
Well, they will say that to Australia too. So that's going to be an incredible competitive game, and I just hope at the end of the game that we win.
And through to the final. Good luck.
Thank you.
That is the England boss, Serena Wiegman, speaking to our reporter Juliet Farrington ahead of tomorrow's World Cup semi-final between England and Australia at the Stadium Australia in Sydney. Best of luck to the Lionesses, and best of luck to Pools in the second half here in the National League. It's Hartlepool United versus Maidenhead United. It's goalless heading into the second half. Let's rejoin our commentary team of Mickey Barron and Rob Law.
Thanks, Matty. Yes, both teams out on the pitch. Doesn't look like any changes at the start of the second half. So as you were, Pools with Joel Dixon in goal, back three of Dan Dodds, on Manny Honorese and Alex Lacey, Charlie Seaman and David Ferguson the captain as your wing backs, with Anthony Mancini, Tom Crawford and Callum Cook in midfield, with Chris Ray on his home debut and Manny Desirue leading the line up front as the ball is headed out for a throw-in. Let me just take you through the Maidenhead side. Then no changes for them either. So Craig Ross in goal, back four from right to left of Remy Clarima, Kevin Oloko, the captain, Will de Havilland and Sam Beckwith. One sitting in front of that is Jaden Mitchell-Lawson. Then from right to left, Reece Smith, Charlie Adams, Kane Ferdinand and Ashley Nathaniel George supporting Sean Mikulski up front. Pulls in possession with Cook to find Mancini, straight in the box for Ferguson, who looks to go by himself, might get a second chance and just pulls it wide. Well, Manny Desirue did very well to leave the ball for Ferguson. Desirue was offside and he knew it. He let Ferguson run through. He had two bites at the cherry, but neither were fruitful. Still 0-0.
Yeah, it was good football. They kept the ball for 2 or 3 passes more than they have done in the first half, and opened up Maidenhead with a nice pass down the side, and Fergie got in. I think he's probably within his rights to take the shot on the first one on his left foot, but after that he just needed a little bit of composure. He had a lot of bodies in the box, so he could have just picked somebody out rather than taking the shot on his right foot, which he dragged to the side of the post. So it was a really good start, nice bright bit of play, and as I say, a nice pass down for Ferguson to get a chance on goal.
Does how quick Hartlepool United have started suggest that they got a rocket at half-time from John Askey?
Not always. I think sometimes the players come out and even the first couple of passes can make you up the tempo a little bit. He might have just asked them to play a little bit quicker, keep the ball a little bit longer, but play a little bit quicker at times as well.
Dan Dodd's in possession into Mancini. That is better. Seems a bit more fizz and pace about the play, and as I say that, Mancini gives it straight away to the Maidenhead United midfield. Out with Clarima, looks long, gives it straight away to Lacey, who has time in which to take a touch. Now Crawford, out to Seaman. Looks like he's changed boots in the second half, Charlie Seaman. He had yellowy, goldy kind of boots on in the first half. He's gone like a teal colour now.
Good observation. I didn't. Matty's nodding here, so I'm thinking, oh, I'm the only one that didn't say that.
And you've got your glasses on. Oh, you had your glasses on.
Yeah, the glasses are more for show than
Are they the type of glasses with no actual
I do actually need them, but I'm not sure what they're for.
Well, Callum Cook there did very well. A mazy run through the centre of the pitch, was brought down. It opened up for Mancini, but the referee had already blown the whistle for the free kick on Cook.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about the referee at half time, and I think that's the only criticism I would have. A couple of times he's blown up a little bit too early when they probably could have let play continue. That's one way you think, oh, let him play on, but then when Mancini's shot goes over you, well, pull it back.
Yes, the benefit of hindsight as Callum Cook standing over this with intent.
I've had a message off my wife saying that she's listening in to the match tonight. She didn't like coming when I played, so now I'm commentating, but we've just been overtaken by the sowing bees, so unfortunately the next episode of the sowing bees taking
Cook goes for it! Oh, and it just brushes the top of the net over the top of Craig Ross's goal, but it had him scrambling, and it had everybody's eyes lighting up inside the Suit Direct. Still 0-0, but Cook went close.
What a great effort. I think he's probably 30 yards out there, and he's just curled it, and it's just hit the top of the roof of the net, just over the top of the bar. Well, fantastic effort. It shows his quality. He's got that quality on the ball.
Chris Ray trying to turn, just gets the ball wrestled out of his grasp. Crawford picks it up though. Ray, chance to run into, tries to find Desiree. It might come through to Mancini. Oh, he manages to make something of it. Turning under a lot of pressure is Mancini. He needed a bit of help, and then he almost ripped the shorts off Kane Ferdinand there. Here's a free kick to the opposition inside their own half.
Yeah, I think that's what we were talking about before. I think sometimes rather than just passing the ball quickly and moving, he tries to take too many touches, and he got overrun there midfield and ended up giving the ball away.
Long goes the free kick. Charlie Seaman dumps it up into the ever-darkening night sky. The streetlights coming on around Hartlepool. The view of the Trincomalee over the Cyril Knowles stand getting darker by the minute. As Maidenhead have possession with Ferdinand, out to this left-hand side now for Beckwith. Chance and space in which to run into. And now Nathaniel George looks to deliver into the box. An opportunity perhaps for the away side as it breaks on the edge of the area. Low shot, takes a deflection and just goes wide. Well, Hartlepool United backpedaling there desperately. Charlie Adams with the shot, and it is a corner to Maidenhead United, their third of the game, as Gateshead have gone 2-0 up against Dagenham and Redbridge. Well, that's what you were on about in the first half, Mickey Barron.
Yeah, it was a good ball in the box. I think the defender probably could have dealt with it better than he did, and it dropped the edge of the box, and then the shot took a deflection, and luckily it just went wide of the post.
Corner then to the away side. Floated right in on top
what a header.
Of Joel Dixon. Out it goes. Lacey's absolutely thumped it out of play into the Neil Cooper stand.
I think it was Crawford at the back post with a fantastic header there. He's not the biggest, but he won the ball really well, because there was a player behind him who was just going to head in the back of the net, so great bit of defending.
As the attendance has been confirmed, 4,004, which includes 23 Hartley souls who've made the trip from Maidenhead, crossing to the penalty area. Headed up, bounces inside the box. Reece Smith, he's giving it straight away to Callum Cook, wide on the left-hand side, but avenue is quickly closed down. He switches the play beautifully to Seaman, who takes a touch and now runs infield, tries to feed it through to Chris Ray, but it's blocked, and now Pools have defending to do. Dan Dodds trying to accelerate and get back across his man. He's been dragged down. Nothing given from the referee. And Nathaniel George trying to find a way through the Pools defence, gives it back to Ferdinand, who's pointing this way and that from the players in front of him. Now Beckwith back to Ferdinand. The Hartlepool United fans trying to just rally as Maidenhead put it out of play under no pressure whatsoever, really.
They don't have a lot of movement, do they? When the ball's in that final third, the player on the ball's got probably one pass and no one's really moving to try and run in behind, and it's difficult for them to create anything.
Well, the Magpies finished 20th last season in the National League, 1 place and 2 points clear of relegation, winning just 5 games away from home, and their top goal scorer, Emil Aqua, scored 13 goals in that season, ended up getting a move to Barrow in the Football League. Crawford, good 30 yards out, centre of the pitch, out to the right-hand side for Charlie Seaman. Finds Mancini inside the box, right-hand side. Again, sleight of feet, but he's forced back to Crawford. Squares it to Lacey, who's joining the attack now. Goes through to Manny Dizaruwe. The offside flag is up, and for the second time, Dizaruwe has the ball in the back of the net, but the offside flag has denied him. And further goals for his tally. Still Hartlepool United 0, Maidenhead United 0.
It was a good pass, though, wasn't it? Lacey stepped in there on the left-hand side and threaded the ball through to Manny, who was just gone offside. But again, I think it gives you hope, doesn't it, when you're getting in there and another goal's disallowed. But it was a lovely pass from Lacey from the back.
And you just sense that after the whistle went and the flag went up. It's just an encouraging sort of roar going around the ground. The home fans trying to just pull their team across the line, trying to get them.
And I think that makes a difference, Rob, sometimes when you're playing, especially when you've missed a chance or a chance being disallowed like that, it's normally groans, but if you hear the crowd upbeat, and that can give the players a big lift.
Keep you right up to date with scores elsewhere in the National League. Still York City 2, Altrincham 1. Woking have equalised against Rochdale. It's 1-1 there. Oxford City 0, Chesterfield 1. 1-1 between Oldham and Halifax. Mark Shelton with the goal there for his new club. Ebbsfleet 1, Aldershot 0. Eastleigh 1, Barnet 3. As the ball goes out of play for a Pools goal kick. Dorking 1, Southend 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Gateshead 2, Bromley 0, Wealdstone 1, and Fylde 0, Kidderminster 0 here in Hartlepool this evening. Under the lights, it is goalless, but Hartlepool United have very much been banging at the door as Mancini wins it and wins it again. Might have to do it a third time, and he does, but still the sky blue shirts pick up possession with Nathaniel George on this near side, right on the halfway line. Infield to Ferdinand, takes a touch, pivots away, and then peels it out to the right hand side for Clarima. Looks long, over the top as well. Mikulski was trying to break away from his marker, but on a reset tidies up the danger and gives it to Callum Cook, who's been watched ever so closely by Clarima. He goes back to on a reset, and now the ball with Joel Dixon inside his 6-yard box. 56 minutes on the clock then.
I think Hartlepool will have to not get frustrated. They have to keep playing the football, keep trying to get in there the final third, the way they like to play through the thirds, and create chances and not hit too many longer balls.
Ferguson into Dizaruwe. Can he find Chris Ray inside the box? He trying to shrug off the defenders. He turns again. The shot takes a deflection. Magnifique! Fantastic! From Mancini, Hartlepool United's new flying Frenchman breaks the deadlock on 56 minutes. Hartlepool United take the lead. And finally, they break the resilience of the Maidenhead United defence. Mancini there to tap in and get his first goal for Hartlepool United. Pools 1, Maidenhead United 0.
Yeah, I think they deserved that. I think overall in the whole game, I think Hartlepool, the team has been creating the most. I think Ray did really well there, wriggling. That's what we spoke about at the start of the game. Twist and turn in the box. He took his shot, took a deflection and dropped the Mancini. And to be fair to Hartlepool, what I've been impressed, they do commit people into the box. And Mancini there just got what he deserved by being in the right place in the 6-yard box for a very simple tap in. But overall, I think Hartlepool deserved to take the lead there, and it wasn't a classic goal, but I think it's a goal that it will help them now go on and hopefully win the game comfortably.
Well, he deserves that goal, doesn't he, Mancini? Because he's been busy, he's been about it tonight, but also credit where credit is due to Chris Ray, who was being pushed and pulled and tussled inside the box, but he was able to hold it off, get his shot away, which then fell into the path of Mancini to tap in from close range.
He showed his strength, didn't he, Ray, there, when, as you say, they've got two defenders trying to tug him or pull him, and he just twisted and took his shot off. He'll probably be disappointed he didn't score, actually, but he has to think about the team there, and it led to a goal. And Mancini will get you goals this season. I'll be surprised if he doesn't get over 10 plus goals the way he plays and the areas he gets into.
Hartlepool United have the tails up, the wind in their sails. Crawford back to Honorise, the home fans finding their voice on Dodds. Looks to pick out Ray, who is hungry, and he's hungry, and he was wrestling with Kevin Loco there, who did a bit of a Tom Daly, didn't he? And I think Matty Nixon, who's holding us all together tonight away to our left, give it a good 9.5 on the
I think that ball's
scale.
a ball that Hartlepool can probably play a little bit more of for Ray to run down the channels and try and stretch the game a little bit. They like playing in the feet, they like playing good passes in around the final third, but there's nothing wrong with stretching the opposition with those longer passes.
Crawford, who's done very well in midfield tonight, as have they all really, Mancini, Crawford and Cook. And the Frenchman is on his bike again, and he finds Desirue, who is searching for an option. And I look at the runners off the ball. I mean, there was when they're in possession.
The movement's very good, Robbie.
Yeah,
I know as soon as you said that, everyone stood still,
yes.
But the movement is good when Manny comes to drop. Mancini will go beyond, or Seen will be looking to go beyond, and I just like the way they play. They play good football, they pass the ball well, and they've got a real attacking threat.
And Charlie Seaman's nutmegged his man, and he's driving forward! Oh my word! Charlie Seaman with a plum! Pick it out! 59 minutes on the clock! He nutmegged his man, he drove to the 18-yard line, and he unleashed a fearsome strike, which flew into the top corner and beat Craig Ross. All ends up, it almost broke the net. Hartlepool United double their lead, and a first goal for Charlie Seaman. It's Pools 2, it's Maidenhead 0.
Wow, what a goal. Fantastic. He's done that a couple of times tonight. He's ran inside with the ball with Pearce. It's hard to describe how hard that technique is, because he's running across the pitch and opens his body up and hits it, probably with the outside of his foot and right in the top corner. It's hard to describe what a goal that actually is. It'll be goal of the month contender for sure, but I don't know what magnificent is in Doncastrian. Probably well done, son.
Yeah.
What a goal.
And the way that move started, it all started on his own, nutmegged the man in front of him, wide on the right hand side, drove through the centre of the pitch, got right to the 18-yard line, and bang, it was past Craig Ross in a flash. Hartlepool United double their lead, 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes.
Yeah, and that second goal is really important because Maidenhead now have to do something different. They can't stay and do what they've been doing. If it's 1-0, they'll probably wait till 80 minutes and change. But now, as a manager, you've got to think, well, I've got to change something, and I can see some subs warming up. So that second goal is crucial just to make Maidenhead change their plans for the game.
Well, the flags in the northwest corner are waving high and proud as Manny Dizarue picks up possession midway inside the Maidenhead half. Crawford just gets his studs stuck in the turf, I think, for a moment there. Just slows him down momentarily. But with an hour gone, Pools 2-0 up. And it is comfortable for them at the minute.
Yeah, they've looked in control, haven't they? Especially second half. First half they were, but there was a little bit of threat from me, and then second half the midfielders controlling the ball. If they can't go forward, they're going back to the centre half, so we're comfortable. And there's more goals here for Hartlepool.
It might be more yet to come. Dizarue into Mancini. Oh, he backheels it to Seaman again! Oh, and it's a point-blank save from Craig Ross. Cat-like reactions from him to prod the ball over the crossbar and deny Seaman a second. But good work in the build-up from Dizarue. And Pools have a corner, and they've got Maidenhead rocking.
Yeah, I thought Mancini had made the wrong option. I thought he should have just slid it down to Seaman on the outside, but he took it and backheeled it back inside. And what another strike from Seaman, eh? He's
tidy.
Yeah. Long time since Hartlepool's had a decent right back.
Who was the last one like?
I can't remember. I'm not putting me in that category. Definitely not going forward.
Corner to Pools. We're in a good mood because it's Hartlepool United 2-0 to the good against Maidenhead, and it could get better still. Ferguson to deliver the corner to the front post, but it's easily cleared into the Neil Cooper stand.
He's had more shots on target tonight than I had in my career. He just does everything with pace. He's a bit like Dodds, isn't he? And when he gets the ball, he drives forward with pace, and I think the Maidenhead players don't know how to stop him, and if he's not doing it, Dodds is behind him doing it, and whether he's driving inside, he's driving down the line, it's done at pace, and he's got that little bit of quality at the end. So we said all in the first half down the right hand side that we're getting a lot of joy, and the second half's exactly the same with Mancini and Seaman, Dodds linking up. They're playing really, really well.
A double change for Maidenhead that's seen Casey Petit come on and replace Reece Smith. Jaden Mitchell-Lawson has gone off as well. Just waiting for the player to turn around so I can see the number on his back of the man who's come on. But Charlie Seaman about to take this throw-in for Pools. Back it goes to Dodds. Now Crawford takes up possession. It's Harry Parsons who's come on, who is a striker for Maidenhead. So Alan Devonshire trying to make the changes which he feels will impact this game and give them a foothold, but at the minute there is only one team who is going to score next.
Yeah, he looks like he's changed personnel, but not the system at the moment. He might push that extra striker up later in the game, but they're still playing that system with one up front and a lot of people in midfield. But they've got a lot of people in midfield, but Hartlepool are controlling the midfield so easily. Crawford's getting on the ball, and the movement's brilliant, and they're just passing through them every time.
Somebody in the Neil Cooper stand, as Charlie Seaman picked up possession on the halfway line, just shouted shoot with all their might, and you can't blame them for shouting that, because as we've discovered, Charlie Seaman, on loan from Doncaster this season, has a hell of a right peg on him. Pools in possession at the base of the defence with Dan Dodds, and now Crawford finds Lacey. And Pools now can just be comfortable in their possession, can't they? They don't have to rush. They've got the 2-goal advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I think they can pass the ball, if not more than they were doing before, and just wear Maidenhead out. They don't need that pass what Crawford just played. They don't need to put the ball at risk. Just keep passing it easy, keep moving the ball up the pitch, and force Maidenhead to go further and further back. And Hartlepool will create more chances if they keep the ball.
Maidenhead almost architects of their own downfall there with the back pass that ignited the interest of Chris Ray, but just about got back to goalkeeper Craig Ross. Now a rare Maidenhead United attack down the right-hand side, crossing to the penalty area. Jill Dixon claims that edge of the 6-yard box. Easy as you like.
Yeah, they only had one forward in the box there when the wingers crossed in. There's only the centre forward, and that's a difference. When Hartlepool are getting balls into the box, they've got runners going into the box. We've got the 2 centre forwards, often 2 midfielders going in there as well, and that's where the first goal came from.
Well, Eastleigh have got a goal back against Barnet. Eastleigh 2, Barnet 3. Scott Quigley with the goal for Eastleigh there. But here, Hartlepool United 2, Maidenhead United 0. Pools looking for back-to-back wins at home in the league for the first time since February of 2022. And now Anthony Mancini has been booked.
He's kicked the ball away by about 2 yards from where where it was given.
Well, the referee is not in the mood for any sort of nonsense tonight. The cards have started to flow thick and fast as Maidenhead's free kick goes straight up to the 18-yard line, headed away by Pools. Might fall to Ferguson, who looks and then floats one up to the halfway line. Desiree is charging down. It might break for Chris Ray. Sliding, covering challenge from Remy Clarima. But for a moment there, thought Chris Ray was breaking away and one-on-one with the goalkeeper as Dan Dodds just sweeps up at the back.
Yeah, I'd like him to get a goal tonight. I think after the chance in the first half, and obviously helping setting up the first goal, it'd be good for him to get a goal and get him off the mark as well.
Well, again, I mean, his work in that first goal, to hold off his markers, to keep the ball tight to his feet. And okay, his shot was saved and blocked, and then it fell into Mancini, who tapped home. But
yeah, it's a skill.
Composure in that box at that time.
It's a skill, Rob, being able to control the ball in the box when people are putting you under pressure, but then to manipulate the ball to get your shot off is a skill. And yeah, he was unlucky that it wasn't his shot that scored, but he definitely made the goal.
68 minutes on the clock. Pools in possession and cruising to victory as Greg on the PA system announces 4,004 in attendance tonight, with 23 making the journey from Maidenhead.
You can tell the well-drilled Hartlepool. You can see just by when the ball's at the back, the players, the movement of the players. If one player's going in one position, the other one's moving out the other side, and that's a sign of a good coach. And the coaching team obviously spent a lot of time doing this on the pitch and getting the players to do it.
As Cook is just outnumbered there, but Manny Desiree back to win it and does well. And then the ball just escaping David Ferguson as he drops out for a throw-in in front of the Cyril Knowles stand. He does that so well, doesn't he, Manny Desiree, just floating back and winning possession.
Yeah, and not all centre forwards are willing to do it, Rob. You know, he seems quite keen. As you can see, now he's dropped into that sort of number 10 position, and he puts a lot of effort into helping the defence, and he does. He wins quite a lot of balls, coming back and just nicking them from the midfielders, which is brilliant for Hartlepool. And I used to love that as a defender, when your strikers taking the balls and helping you, so you don't have to defend.
Pools clearing the line through Crawford. Desiree once again turning and winning the ball, plucking it out the air beautifully on the halfway line, laying it off to Dodds at the base of the centre circle. Stops the ball dead, Stud's on top of the ball, just pivoting, looking for an option, and instead gives it to the outlet at the back, which is Manion Arise.
Yeah, the crowd's just got to not get
good flick from Chris Ray. Mancini just escaped him there and taking off his toes, but a good pass round the corner from Ray to find Mancini, and now Chris Ray is, well, is he judged to have fouled his man there or have they given a throw in? Either way, it's Ashley Nathaniel George who has stayed down, and it is going to be a free kick.
Yeah, I think the crowd just need to understand how much in control Hartlepool are. They don't need to start going, oh, get the ball forward and putting pressure on. Do that. Just let them relax, let them play the football. If
let them enjoy it.
If it finishes 2-0, that's fine, but don't put any pressure on them. They're happy. Don't. If they have 10 passes at the back, that's fine, because Maidenhead aren't going to get the ball from them.
Oh, as Mancini's just been clapped off the ball, but he bounces back up and takes up a loose ball, and he strides forward. He's got Chris Ray in front of him. Desiree to his left. Desiree, he just slips at the crucial moment. He had Cook running through on the left-hand side as well. Pools flooding forward in numbers, but the turf just going underneath the studs of Desiree. As now Sean Mikulski picks up possession wide on the left-hand side, parallel with the Pools penalty area. Nathaniel George, he's looking to try and find a way through. A shot from distance, which is easily saved by Joel Dixon. Away to our left, in front of the rink end. But Sean Mikulski's had absolutely nothing to work off today.
There's probably been 2 crosses into the box with any quality, and apart from that, it's just been pot shots from long distance. He's had no real quality balls into him in around the penalty area. And you do feel a bit sorry for strikers at this point, don't you, when they're sort of 70 minutes in and haven't had one chance in the game.
Evening to Natasha Jane, who's been in touch and said, can you please give a massive shout out to all the 20 poolies who are watching in Billy's Cosy Corner. Don't look at me like that. I don't know what Billy's Cosy Corner is. I presume it's...
I thought you were going to see it in like Tenerife or somewhere.
Well,
Can you ask her what it is?
Well, yes, I will. I mean, well, I'll ask her now. Jane, get in touch.
I think you know what it is.
I honestly don't.
Chance. Come on.
And Crawford.
3v1.
A 3-on-1, and Crawford has released the run of Ray. He's got Cook on the far side, and he's picked the wrong option. And Ray, he could have gone by himself. He could have ran through and squared it to Cook, and instead he did neither. He tried to play it through to Cook, but it went out for a goal kick in the end. Frustration around the ground. Mickey Barron, hold that thought. We'll go to Ray Simpson, who has a goal between Darlington and Scunthorpe in the National League North.
It's now Scunthorpe 3, Darlington 0. We've got 78 minutes there. The goal has just been scored. Scunthorpe have been sitting back in the second half, making it difficult for Darlington to break them down. But they came away with the ball, and it was threaded through for Alfie Beeston to run into the area and beat Tommy Taylor. It's Scunthorpe 3, Darlington 0.
Thank you for that, Ray, but not necessarily for the scoreline. Scunthorpe United putting the Quakers to the sword there. As Maidenhead look to attack, Hartlepool United 2-0 to the good here. And long it goes towards Chris Ray, who does very well. He then lost sight of the ball and loses possession. Over on the far side, Crawford does very well, picks up possession, drives forward. Back to Cook, who looks to hit the diagonal and does towards Seaman. Can he keep it in? He accelerates to the byline. He keeps hold of it, stops the ball dead onto his left foot, and then the ball out for, well, it actually came off Nathaniel George, but the referee, who was 2 yards away, has pointed for a throw-in to Maidenhead. Thank you to Jack, who's been in touch, who says it's a place in Turkey.
Right, yeah. From
Natasha Jane, Billy's Cosy Corner. Matty Nixon's just rejoined us and raised his eyebrows at the sound of Billy's Cosy Corner. We're giving them far too much publicity now, aren't we? Other Cosy Corners are available. Well, there you go, 15 minutes left. Hartlepool United leading by 2-0. You can tell we're enjoying it. You can tell we're in a good mood, because John Askey's side are heading to victory. As it stands, goals, both of them in the second half. The first one from Anthony Mancini, a tap-in after good work from Chris Ray inside the penalty area. His shot taking a deflection, bouncing into the path of Mancini, who followed in and was able to slot home from close range. And then on the hour mark, just 4 minutes after the first goal, across into the penalty area here that Pools have to be aware of. headed away, falls to the edge of the box. And Pools win it back with Crawford. Tries to hit a diagonal onto the chest of Chris Ray, controls it well. He needs some options. He skips infield. He's got Desirue and Mancini. He goes for the Frenchman out on the right and to Cook. Looks to deliver, and it's prodded behind for a corner to Pools.
Brilliant play again. Ray holding the ball up. He played it across to Mancini, probably about 25 yards out. Lays it down the side of the box to Cook, who tries to slide it in for Manny, who would have had a tap in again. But good defending actually from Maidenhead. But again, another good play.
Maidenhead are waiting to take a corner. Waiting to make a change while Pools get ready to take the corner. So 15 minutes to go, and Pools looking eager to extend their lead further. Ferguson to deliver with this corner. Left-footed. To the back post, headed out, only as far as Mancini. Does well to control it on his chest. The bounce of the ball is favourable. He goes for a shot by himself, but the ball just rolls across the front of his boots and goes well wide of the near post of Craig Ross. Still 2-0 to Hartlepool United.
I think Mancini just probably lifted his hands up there to say, yeah, it was a wrong option. He knows it, but you can understand him having a shot. You know, it's in the box, but it's probably a little cross to the back post would have been a better option. But he just held his hands up as though to say, yeah, I understand. I probably shouldn't have took that one on.
So first goal of his Pools career for Anthony Mancini. And the first goal for Charlie Seaman tonight as well, which was the pick of the bunch. All his own making on the hour mark. Nutmegged his man wide on the right hand side, drove through the centre of the pitch, got in and around the D and just absolutely let rip with a thunderbolt of a strike. I can't emphasise it enough. It was hit with pace, it was hit with power, and it almost took the back of the net off. As Spennymoor have extended their lead 4-0 against Southport in the National League North.
I don't think it'll be Mancini's or Seaman's last goal this season either, by looking at the way they play tonight. Both players like to get forward, get into good areas.
And the team looks hungry, Mickey, as well, doesn't it? You know, we talked about it earlier, saying they could easily just pass it around and play out the rest of these 12 minutes or so that's left. But they are absolutely pushing for more goals. As another change, Charlie Adams goes off, and his race is run. He's replaced by Brad Keach.
I've just been really impressed with the way that the team shape and the way they play. The movement of the forward players is fantastic. Everyone seems to know the jobs, know what they're doing when each player's in each position. And like I said before, it just shows that they've been really well coached. And I've been really, really impressed with the team tonight.
Free kick to Pools after Chris Ray was fouled wide on the right hand side, just a couple of paces up from the corner flag, in fact. 10 minutes to go. Are they at more goals in this game for John Askey's men? Callum Cook and David Ferguson stood over it. It would favour a left footer, wouldn't it? Or would it?
Yeah, I'd prefer left footer, yeah.
And Cook is going to leave it for Ferguson. It is the left foot of the captain, curled in away from goal. It drops down, hits off the post, rebounds inside the box, and it's in.
Offside. He's got to be offside.
And the offside flag stays down. The goal will count. Hartlepool United have the goal, and now the offside flag goes up.
He was offside.
Well, the offside flag goes up a good 30 seconds after the ball hit the back of the net.
That was incredible.
Well, now Manny Desirue might yet make it 3-0. Oh, his right-footed shot just takes a deflection. And listen to that. Well, it makes sense of that, Mickey Barron.
Well, he was offside. Can I just say that in the first place? He was offside, but then the referee was looking at the linesman and say, are you going to put your flag up? And the linesman just sort of kept staring at him, so the referee was like, well, it must be a goal. He must have been offside. And then, as you say, 30 seconds later, the linesman put his flag up. They got the right decision in the end, but how they got to it, I don't know, because there wasn't any sort of communication between the two of them. They just seem to be staring at each other to try and work out what to do.
I wonder if there was confusion over who got the final touch, because Manny Desirue ran away and claimed it. I think it was Manny Desirue.
Yeah.
And then there was a player down inside the box. I think it might have been Crawford, who was down inside the box. His shot actually is a shot that went goalwards. Manny Desirue then seemed to claim it, and I just wonder if Desirue was the man clearly offside, and the linesman was trying to figure out whether it was Desirue, whether if he didn't touch it, was he impeding the goalkeeper? Who knows? But it is still 2-0 to Pools. A free kick to defend, headed away as far as Cook. Oh, they've got runners again here, Pools. Cook beautifully picks out Mancini, who accelerates. He might go all the way by himself. He's looking for his second, and instead he finds the town end. And Mancini lays exhausted on the turf, face down. He now pulls himself to his feet. He ran almost the length of the pitch there. He gives a thumbs up to Cook, who beautifully orchestrated that move. But Mancini, his eyes lit up as he was looking for a double.
He looked tired as he got there, didn't he? He did really well to run that far.
Oh, chance for Shane Mikulski, breaking through on goal and blazes his effort into the car park. And somebody needs a new windshield on the car after that one.
Was it great? He should score. He's what, 14, 15 yards out, clean through on goals. His only chance tonight to really score, and he's just hit the crossbar. And that's a worry you have, you know, that even with, 10 minutes left and however many minutes injury time, that one goal can change the game. Just going back to Mancini, I was thinking first half he probably chops back onto his left foot and curls that towards the goal, but I think he's out on his feet, and there don't seem to be many subs from Hartlepool.
You took the words right out of my mouth as Mancini slides in, wins a throw-in. I think he was worried there for a minute, Mancini, because he is already on a yellow card, and it was Kane Ferdinand who stayed down. Mancini running at his man, onto his left, hits it to the edge of the area for Desirue, sliding in as Mancini once more, but he wins it that time. Ferguson, centre of the pitch, back to the halfway line for Lacey. Now Crawford, inside the centre circle, turns and finds Cook, who has been brilliant. His range of passing this afternoon, as I say that, he just hits one over onto the chest of Seaman. Seaman into the path of Mancini, right inside of the penalty area, across the face of goal, and it's blocked by Cook, by the captain, Lococo. And now Dodds, back to Seaman once again. Dodds wants a return ball and gets it, and he's running through at the byline, unopposed, drills it into the face of goal. Oh, and it's off the crossbar by Desirue, and then buried into the back of the net by Hartlepool United's new captain, David Ferguson. He celebrates with his teammates. Pool's new skipper opens his account for the new campaign in front of the home fans, in front of the town end, and he makes it Hartlepool United 3, Maidenhead United 0.
Yeah, another goal built down this right hand side. We spoke about it with Seaman, Mancini. They've got brilliant connection down there. This time they couldn't get through, but Dodds did an overlapping run, got in the box, passed the ball across. Manny, I think, deflected, hit the bar, and Fergie's there to tap it in. But again, bodies in the box from Hartlepool. They've got lots of people in there to score. And but this right-hand side tonight has been absolutely terrific, absolutely brilliant.
And now listen to this. This is the applause for Hartlepool United's new favourite Frenchman, Anthony Mancini. Everyone inside the ground rising to their feet to applaud their new number 8. He in turn applauds them. He gets a pat on the back from John Askey, Mark Goodlad and Anthony Sweeney, and on to replace him comes Joe Gray. A chance for him to get some minutes in his legs after that ankle injury. With 5 minutes left to play and Pools 3-0 up.
Yeah, it's a difference though. Their chance hits a crossbar, could be 2-1, and you've got a nervy final 5 or 10 minutes, and now game's finished. I have to say Crawford's been brilliant tonight as well in that deeper midfield role. Cook and Mancini have been brilliant going forward, but he's won a lot of tackles. He's linked play up really well from the defenders to the midfielders, and I've been really impressed.
Hartlepool United, home and hosed, comfortable it has been, as Joe Gray's first action is just a barge in the back of Brad Keach and a free kick.
I think the thing now is clean sheet. Can we keep a clean sheet? I think if the more clean sheets you get, it builds and builds, and you.
Well, I haven't kept one yet this season.
No,
so
and it's really important. You don't want this game to finish 3-1. You want to build the confidence of your goalkeeper and the back players, and we used to thrive on trying to keep clean sheets. Even if you're 3-0, 4-0 up, we used to be screaming and putting pressure on each other, because, as you say, it becomes a good habit, and later on you might need that clean sheet.
Keach to Nathaniel George, cuts it back into the penalty area. It might break for Kane Ferdinand. A sprawling block from Crawford, and now Cook has sprung the counter, and now the fresh legs of Joe Gray accelerates across the halfway line. Cook is calling for it, and he gets it, and he leaves it through to Manny Desirue, but it takes a deflection off Remy Clearimer, and Maidenhead can mop up at the back, and now the might spring a counter of their own with Parsons out to this near side. And good cover from Seaman. I tell you what, Mickey, there's been performances all over that pitch tonight which deserve real credit. I mean, Callum Cook has been unplayable with his range of passing. Charlie Seaman has been just brilliant down that right-hand side with his endeavour and his work rate. Tom Crawford has been throwing himself in front of anything to block and then start moves at the base of the midfield. And then the two up front in Chris Ray and Manny Desirue, who've ran all night long. There's so many who deserve their plaudits out there tonight.
Definitely, but even there, the lads at the back there are diving in front of shots to try and block, and this is what we're talking about. Get those clean sheets, build up that momentum of being able to defend and keep the clean sheet. I thought Cook there on that last one was just going to flick it rather than let it run. I thought he was just going to flick it over for Manny, but as I say, they've been fantastic tonight.
Long ball forwards for Maidenhead, but such has been the case. Shane Mikulski has very little drop for him, and instead Pools have a goal kick and a chance to make another change, and Jake Hasty is going to come on, and he is going to replace Chris Ray, who again deserves his round of applause this evening. His endeavour, tireless work at the front of the pitch, and the strength of character, the calm of mind in that opening goal.
He's done a lot of hard work, hasn't he, for the team. He hasn't got his goal. He probably should have got at least one goal tonight, but he's worked really hard for the team, helped the team play how they want to by being that focal point up front, and rightly deserves his round of applause on the way off.
On to replace him comes Jake Hasty, who already has a goal to his name, scored in that 3-2 defeat against Barnet. Could have had two, in fact, but missed a penalty, saw it saved, only for Josh O'Meara to then thunder one in out of frustration at not taking the penalty more than anything, I think it was. But meanwhile, Scunthorpe 4-0 up against Darlington in the National League North. But here in the National League, it is Hartlepool United 3, Maidenhead 0. The goals coming from Anthony Mancini after 56, Charlie Seaman after the hour, and then on 84 minutes, Manny Desirue hitting the crossbar, rebounded for Pool's new skipper, David Ferguson, to tap in to an uncontested net. Is that 6 minutes again, stoppage time? I can't quite make that out. 6 minutes.
How going to be 6 minutes this half as well?
12 minutes in total.
You've got what, three goals, all the subs.
Yeah. There hasn't really been any big stoppages of play either, has there? You know, for injuries or physios. 6 minutes left to play, of which we are into now.
He's done well tonight as well, Lacey's just gone about, done his job, what he needs to do, defended when he has to, and looks solid at the back.
Well, a comfortable evening for Pools, and as I mentioned, as Pools give away a free kick inside the centre circle, that statistic we brought you at the very top of the show, Pools looking for back-to-back home league wins for the first time since February of 2022. Some 18 months ago. 4 managers ago as well, as Spennymoor have gone 5-1 up against Southport in the National League North. Matty Nixon will take you through all the full-time scores up and around the grounds. But it has been a good night for the men in blue and white. There's Nathaniel George. Is there a consolation perhaps for Maidenhead? Callum Cook says no as he thumps that one deep into the opposition half, and then Maidenhead clear their own lines out into touch for a Pools throw-in. So at this point, Mickey Barron, I have to look at you and ask you potentially, maybe not right now, let me give you some thinking time, but who's in your thinking for your BBC Radio T Sport man of the match this evening?
You could probably have most of the team, couldn't you? But I think Cook has played really well tonight. I think Mancini has played really, really well. He's been bright. And I think obviously Seaman with his goal and his overall performance is definitely a contender as well. So it's probably down to one of those 3.
I tell you what, I don't envy you having to pick a man of the match for tonight, because as we mentioned earlier, there's been so many really impressive performances out there. As Dan Dodds was given a yellow card a few moments ago for time wasting from the throw-in, which he was very bemused about. But there we are. Long it goes towards Disaroo way. 2 minutes of the 6 and stoppage time have elapsed. Dodds in possession, and this is where Pools can just absolutely kill this game now, can't they?
Yeah, they can just keep the ball. I think me and Ned know they're defeated. They're not going to be chasing you down, closing you down too strongly, and just enjoy having the ball. If another chance comes, it comes. If not, then just keep the ball like in the training session. Keep passing the ball around.
And Southend are losing 2-1 against Dorking. So worth pointing out, Southend were 1-0 in front. Have been really impressive despite all their off-the-field troubles. Leading 1-0 and are currently losing 2-1 now against Dorking. And Pools go to Southend on Saturday. And you'd think after today's performance, Mickey, Pools will go there full of confidence.
Oh, 100%. It's what John does when he goes away from home. Does he play the same type of football with the same system? Does he change things a little bit? Does he keep the same system but change the style that they play? So can you go there and be as expansive as you are at home? Do you have to change for the first half, first 60 minutes? These are all the things that he has to decide as a manager and his coaching staff. I would love them to go and play like they have tonight, but can you do that away from home? Do you get enough of the ball away from home? These are things that coaches and managers have to think about, and probably look at Southend and see what they do.
And Maidenhead feeling emboldened as they try and grab a consolation. Nathaniel George trying to do it all on his own. Kane Ferdinand then gives him a helping hand, but Nathaniel George overhits it and forces Ferdinand to adjust his run. Back into Loco, and now Beckwith floats one into the area. It is a good pass, and it's a consolation goal for Maidenhead right at the death, and it's the substitute Casey Petit who scores it. Hartlepool United won't get the clean sheet, but the 23 who've travelled from Maidenhead have something to show for their journey at least. It's Hartlepool United 3, Maidenhead United 1.
Yeah, disappointing. It was actually a really, really good goal from Maidenhead. Terrific passing and take and a good finish. But it's a disappointing way to finish what's been a terrific performance. It just takes the edge of it for everyone involved. I know the defenders will be disappointed, but I'm sure the manager's not happy with it either. It just finishes on a tiny little bit of a negative of what's been such a positive night.
Yeah, Pools yet to keep a clean sheet then so far this season, albeit 3 games in, but I know John Askey is...
Tonight should have been that night, definitely.
And John Askey is very clear about wanting to build from the back and have a solid foundation, and Maidenhead have a corner.
And they have looked solid in general. They have looked like a solid unit, the back three or the back five, but just a little lack of concentration.
Corner comes into the front post, it bounces down, and Crawford is able to just nudge it behind for another corner. So Maidenhead's 5th corner of the game, same as Pools. Yes, there's a slight rain just falling down onto the pitch as this corner comes in again to the front post, and again Pools clear it through Ferguson, heads it away from goal, wide on the right hand side. 10 seconds I make it left of play. And a diagonal ball that Joel Dixon has dropped, but the referee allows play to go on. Charlie Seaman looks long and looks for the fresh legs of Jake Hasty, but the ball drops out of play for throwing to the away side, and James Westgate has the whistle in his hand. Hartlepool United, as the rain starts to fall, are surely securing back-to-back wins in the National League. Wasn't the start they wanted away at Barnet, but it was a much improved performance against Gateshead, albeit it had to be a very different type of performance. And there goes the final whistle as referee James Westgate brings this match to a close, and Hartlepool United have back-to-back home wins in the league for the first time since February of 2022. 4 managers have come and gone since then. John Askey at the helm now, and after a win against Gateshead, they've backed it up with a 3-1 win here, with the goals coming through Anthony Mancini, a thunderbolt through Charlie Seaman of all his own making, nutmegged his man, drove to the 18-yard line and unleashed a shot which almost took the back of the net off and beat Craig Ross. All ends up. The 3rd goal coming after Manny Desirue hit the crossbar on 84 minutes, and that was followed into the back of the net with David Ferguson, the Pools captain, who scored from close range, his first goal as Pools' brand new captain for the new campaign. And Pools looking to round out the performance with a clean sheet. Perhaps the only sour note on which to end was on 94 minutes when Casey Petit came off the bench, was able to latch on to a long ball into the area and nutmeg Joel Dixon. But Pools were the better side. They showed their endeavour, their athleticism, their experience and their quality in the end, which told its own story. Anthony Mancini gets his plaudits from his teammates, who applaud all 4 corners of the ground, and John Askey's Blue and White Army is up and running in the National League. 3-1 it ends. Mickey Barron, your final thoughts and your BBC Radio T Sport Man of the Match as well,
Yeah,
please.
Terrific performance. I think the team look well organised, they look well drilled in what they're doing, how they want to play football. They controlled the game most of the night tonight without ever really being troubled by what I really do think is a pretty poor Maidenhead team. But take nothing away from Hartlepool, some brilliant performances right across the pitch. But my biggest thing is the team look well drilled. They look like they know the patterns of play, they've worked on it. Players of movement, the movement's good, they're creating chances. They could have had 3 or 4 more goals tonight quite easily, and an overall terrific performance. I think man of the match, I think I would probably go with Mancini. I think just his creativity, his endeavour, he scored his goal, he's always receiving the ball in areas where it's tight, but he gets away from people. But bear in mind there was some other terrific performances from Cook, was brilliant. Crawford played his part. Seaman's goal was fantastic, and I do feel a little bit bad on some of the other players giving the man of the match to Mancini. But I think overall he gives you that buzz, doesn't he? He gives you something different, and he got his goal tonight as well. So I think we'll go with Mancini tonight.
Anthony Mancini, your BBC Radio T Sport Man of the Match. First goal for him, first goal for Charlie Seaman, and the first goal as Pools captain for David Ferguson. 3-1 it ends.
Tell you what, Mickey, you can come back again if every game's going to be like that. I mean, it was frustrating first half. You could sense that Pools were the better football inside, but you kind of said the signs were there that they were going to create. And do you think Askey will have just said? You actually said it at the start of the second half. Rob asked you if you thought there'd have been a rocket there, and you said, "Don't think so." They just said to speed things up, and from the outside looking in from where we are, that looks like exactly what they did.
Yeah, I think, like we said at half time, I just think a little bit sort of more quality in that final third, pass the ball a little bit quicker, because all the signs were there first half. They can open up Maidenhead, they can create chances, but they just didn't have that final ball or a little bit of quality, but second half they did. And like I said, I thought they were terrific all over the pitch. I really did. I don't think anyone could to point anyone and say there was a weakness in the team or had a bad performance. And I think John will be delighted. As I say, conceding the goal, he'd probably be upset about that, because you like clean sheets, and as I say, it gets into a habit of keeping those clean sheets. But some of the play tonight, it was so attractive to watch. It was fluent, they create chances, and it could quite easily have been 5 or 6.
I have to give a big shout out to Julie the Poolie, who got in touch pre-match. Predicted a 3-1 win for Hartlepool United, and not only that, I mean, only one scorer wrong, Julie. So fair play to you.
What are the lottery numbers,
Julie?
Julie?
I know. Please come back with them, because I could do with them. She says she's putting it on. Nice one. Thanks to Harry Baggerface for letting us know. But yeah, both Ferguson and Mancini both predicted to score. I mean, I hope you had a bet on it. That's all I'm saying. But I mean, looking at things now, 3 games in, Mickey. If you'd have offered John Askey 6 points out of 9 at the start of the season, do you think he'd have took it?
I think so. I think obviously you'd want 9, but I think with a tough away game at Barnet, home game against Gateshead, I think you'd be happy with 6. I think especially with the performance tonight as well. I know Saturday's performance was different. They had to play slightly different, but I think fans go home tonight really excited for the next home game, and I think it hasn't been like that for quite a while, you know, but I'm excited for the next time I watch them after seeing them play tonight.
And before I let you go and get a cuppa or a pint or whatever it may be, Saturday is a trip to Southend. Now, Rob mentioned, I mean, I haven't seen the full-time score yet myself. I will bring you it in a second. But they start the season quite well. I'm sure Eula played at Roots Hall a fair few times.
Actually scored at Roots Hall.
There we go. Of course you can remember that. But it's not an easy place to go, is it?
No, it's not. It's a long trip. You're not obviously having to travel and you have to get there. It is quite an intimidating place to be, depending on how many are in there, how much the crowd is, and it's a hard place to play, you know. It's tight, the ground's tight, you're up against some of the fans a lot of the time, and they normally start really fast. But I think, like I said to Rob before, it depends how you're going to set up. Are you going to set up the same way? Are you going to play out from the back, or are you going to sort of build into the game? And that's what they'll probably watch a video from Southend's game and see how they play tonight, see their weaknesses, see their strengths, and then put a plan together what Hartlepool's going to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mickey, a successful debut in competitive action tonight. Will you come back for another in the future?
Oh, definitely, if I'm allowed.
Well, yet to make that decision. The boss will be in touch. No, Mickey Barron, Rob Law, thank you very much. Rob will now head off to go and speak to the Pools boss, John Askey. That'll be on our Twitter feed at BBC Tees Sport as and when we get it for you. And I'll bring you the scores from elsewhere very shortly. But first, we were keeping an eye on things in the National League North tonight. One of which was Darlington against Scunthorpe at Glanford Park. Ray Simpson's been watching this one.
Final score here from Glanford Park. It was Scunthorpe United 4, Darlington 0, and you could tell who the full-time club was in this clash, and the one that is financially strong. There were plenty of chances in the game, end to end in the first 25 minutes, but then Scunthorpe took a lead on 27. They broke up a Quakers counter-attack, and Danny Whitehall hit a right foot shot that took a deflection off a defender and sent Tommy Taylor the wrong way, and the Darlington goal. It was 2-0 on 41 minutes. John Windass was penalised for a foul 25 yards out, and Whitehall curled the ball over the wall and past Taylor. Darlington started the second half with plenty of spirit, made 3 substitutions, but didn't really make an impact on the Scunthorpe defence, and nearly got a goal back when Jordan Mustoe played a low ball into the box and Cameron Selkel just failed to get a touch. He was 3-0 though on 77 minutes when the ball was threaded through for Alfie Beeston to run into the area and beat Taylor. After that substitute, Danny Elliott broke away and hit the bar. after Quakers went close at the other end, but right at the end of the 90 minutes plus stoppage time, Scunthorpe substitute Dion Sembi Ferris burst through on the right hand side, hit a right foot shot that took a deflection and looped over Tommy Taylor. That's twice it's happened to Darlow today with deflected shots, and 3 times already this season. 3,392, so Scunthorpe 4, Darlington 0.
Ray Simpson with the report there. Bad night for the Quakers down at Scunthorpe. A 4-0 defeat to them tonight in National League North. A much better night for Spennymoor Town, who you've got to say showed incredible powers of comeback. Went 1-0 down within 10 minutes and ended up winning 5-1 on the night. A couple of goals again for, yes, you guessed it, Glenn Taylor. He was on the score sheet with 2 tonight for Spennymoor Town in a 5-1 win over Southport at the Brewerfield. Right, we'll have the goals from here in Hartlepool and the scores from up and down the country for you after this.
BBC Radio Tees Breakfast with Amy Oakton.
Every Friday through the 6-week summer holidays, BBC Radio Tees will give you the chance to win something for the weekend. Family passes for Splash, Air Trail, Go Climb and the Ice Arena are all up for grabs, along with tickets for great nights out at the Forum Theatre. So tune in to BBC Radio Tees Breakfast every Friday for your chance to win something for the weekend.
BBC Radio Tees Breakfast. Proud to follow Hartlepool United.
BBC Radio Tees
Sport.
Tell you what, that jingle says, proud to follow Hartlepool United. The Poolies have certainly left proud tonight because they've beaten Maidenhead United 3-1.
Ferguson into Desiroué. Can he find Chris Ray inside the box? He trying to shrug off the defenders. He turns again. The shot takes a deflection. Oh, it's Manny Mancini. Magnifique. Fantastic from Mancini. Hartlepool United's new flying Frenchman breaks the deadlock. Hartlepool United take the lead, and finally they break the resilience of the Maidenhead United defence. Mancini there to tap in and get his first goal for Hartlepool United. Pools 1, Maidenhead United 0. Charlie Seaman's nutmegged his man and he's driving forward. Oh my word! Charlie Seaman with a plum. Pick it out. 59 minutes on the clock. He nutmegged his man. He drove to the 18-yard line and he unleashed a fearsome strike which flew into the top corner. Hartlepool United double their lead and a first goal for Charlie Seaman. It's Pools 2. It's Maidenhead 0. Dodds wants a return ball and gets it. And he's running through at the byline. Unopposed, drills it into the face of goal. Oh, and it's off the crossbar line. There's a Rouet. And then buried into the back of the net by Hartlepool United's new captain, David Ferguson. He celebrates with his teammates. Pool's new skipper opens his account for the new campaign in front of the home fans, in front of the town end, and he makes it Hartlepool United 3, Maidenhead United 0. Beckwith floats one into the area. It is a good pass and it's a consolation goal for Maidenhead right at the death, and it's the substitute Casey Petit who scores it. Hartlepool United won't get the clean sheet, but the 23 who've travelled from Maidenhead have something to show for their journey at least. It's Hartlepool United 3, Maidenhead United 1.
BBC Radio Tees Sport.